Chapter 1308. 1308. Under the despair of the Prince of the Light Dragon Dynasty. On the island of the Heavenly Sword Sect, the people who came here left one after another. Long Xiaoqin and the other princes of the Light Dragon Dynasty stared at Long Xiaotian angrily. Looking at his smug expression, they wanted to give him a good beating. The second prince of the Light Dragon Dynasty is too lucky. He knows Wang Xian. With that Wang Xian's strength and connections, it won't be easy for him to help Long Xiaotian inherit the throne. I guess Long Xiaotian's ability to obtain so many mounts is related to that Wang Xian. This year I heard from the Yan clan that the He clan is the top clan in the vast region. Young master, he is a powerful beast tamer. That should be it. The other princes are too pitiful. What right do they have to compete with Long Xiaotian? No one is helping them. Before this, who knew that Wang Xian was so terrifying? Ling Jian Yar's pursuit, young master he from the vast region, and even shopkeeper Qian were killed. The princes and princesses from the bloodshed empire left with their tails between their legs. Some of them walked out as they watched Wang Xian and Long Xiaotian discussing softly. This was especially so for Wang Xian. What happened today was too shocking for them. The appearance of powerful figures one by one had a close relationship with him. Even the blood flow empire was smacked in the face. In the future, there would be very few who dared to provoke Wang Xian in the Luhai region. Everyone was envious that Long Xiaotian was able to befriend such a brother. At the same time, sympathy appeared on the faces of Long Xiaoqin and the rest. When the princes heard the discussions around them, their faces turned dark and gloomy. Humph. Long Xiaoqin and the rest took a glance at Long Xiaotian and Wang Xian. They snorted coldly and walked out in a huff. Brothers, you have to pay attention to your safety in the future. Long Xiaotian and Wang Xian looked at each other. A faint smile appeared in their eyes as they said provocatively. After saying that, the two of them followed behind the princes and walked out. Long Xiaoqin and the rest paused for a moment. They did not say anything else with a gloomy face.
Buzz, buzz.
After walking out of the island of the Heavenly Sword Sect, the few of them moved and flew straight into the sky ahead. In the sky in front of them, a group of over 1,000 people were waiting. The leaders were 5 experts at the first level of the Profound Void stage. These were all the forces of the 5 princes of Long Xiaoqin. Initially, they were prepared to show off their forces today and wanted to recruit some subordinates. However, it seemed that it would be very difficult for them to recruit subordinates in the future. After all, Long Xiaotian was like the sun in the sky now. Actually, every prince of the Radiant Dragon Empire has quite a strong influence. However, the second prince met Wang Xian, and now his influence has completely surpassed theirs. I think it's very likely that Long Xiaotian will inherit the throne. Although their influence is not bad, the gap between them and the second prince is still a little big. That's hard to say. Now that the 5 princes have joined forces, Long Xiaotian is still not qualified to fight against them when the 5 of them join forces. Some of the forces that walked out from the surrounding looked at the subordinates of the princes in the sky and discussed in low voices with sparkling eyes. Long Xiaoqin and the others who flew to the side of the subordinates looked at Long Xiaotian. Second brother, don't be complacent too early. There are still 7 months left. The winner and loser haven't been decided yet. Don't be too arrogant. Otherwise, the higher you fly, the harder you fall. As your elder brother, I also warn you to be careful in the future. The 5 princes stood side by side. They looked at Long Xiaotian coldly and warned him. Is that so? Long Xiaotian narrowed his eyes slightly. Long Xiaoqin and the rest of you, I want to ask you something. At this moment, Wang Xian looked at the 5 of them. It was you who hired an assassin organization to kill me a few days ago, right? It's fine if you don't answer. It's because there's no one else besides you. Also, the woman on the island of the Heavenly Sword Sect was also arranged by you guys, right?
He said faintly.
Although he was asking them a question, he seemed to be stating a fact. When Long Xiaoqun and the rest heard Wang Xian's words, their expressions did not change at all. Wang Xian, don't slander us. Don't think that we are afraid of you just because you have a lot of connections. In the upcoming competition for the throne, if you still want to stand on Long Xiaotian's side, we are still enemies. Long Xiaoqun and the rest stared at Wang Xian with dark faces as they spoke. Enemies? Haha, after today, all of you will no longer have the right to be my enemies. Long Xiaotian, who was standing at the side, suddenly laughed maniacally as he stared coldly at Long Xiaoqun and the rest. Ha! Long Xiaoqun and the 5 princes were slightly stunned as they stared at Long Xiaotian in astonishment. Rip. There's a group of people flying over here. So many mounts. Those are Long Xiaotian's subordinates. What are they trying to do? They are no match for the 5 princes now. Is there going to be a fight? The group of people who had just walked out of the Heavenly Sword Sect's island looked at the nearly 300 or so mounts in front of them that were flying over with killing intent soaring into the sky. All of them had shocked expressions on their faces. What? Long Xiaoqun and the other princes were slightly shocked and quickly looked around. The subordinates behind them also looked around and saw a group of people riding their mounts and surrounding them. Their expressions changed slightly. At the same time, a hint of envy flashed in their eyes. If they had submitted to the second prince back then, they would also have a powerful mount. There were more than 300 people in the group, and nearly 300 of them were riding on mounts. Bai Qingshan and Elder Zhu stood in the center and rushed over in high spirits. Second prince, do you want to kill the enemy? The group of more than 300 people surrounded them. They stared at Long Xiaotian with fiery eyes and shouted loudly. Do you want to kill the enemy? Everyone's faces were filled with excitement and violence. If they succeeded today, they would be the trusted aides of the future king of the Light Dragon dynasty. Haha, good. Second brother, I really don't know where your confidence comes from. You want to destroy my subordinates just because you have so many people? Long Xiaoqun and the other 5 swept their eyes over Long Xiaotian's subordinates, laughed loudly, and roared with ice-cold eyes. Long Xiaotian, I don't know if you're stupid or if you want to become the crown prince too much, but I like what you're doing. Long Xiaoqun licked his lips as his eyes sparkled. The 5 princes had joined forces. With their current strength, they were not afraid of Long Xiaotian at all. They were even looking for an opportunity for Long Xiaotian's subordinates to travel and were ready to make a move. What they didn't expect was that Long Xiaotian would actually send people over at this time to determine the winner with them. They were more than happy to see such a situation. Get ready. Get rid of these arrogant fellows for me. Chapter 1309. 1309 was a slap to the face. What is this? Is the competition for the position of the crown prince of the Dragon Dynasty going to be decided today? Long Xiaotian actually sent all of his subordinates directly to compete with the other princes. Isn't he a little too hasty? With his current strength, he can't crush them at all. Isn't this a little stupid? When the surrounding people saw Long Xiaotian's subordinates surrounding them, they didn't leave immediately. Instead, they stood by the side and watched. When some people saw this situation, they said in surprise. It was a little reckless to make a move at this time. Moreover, judging from the strength of his subordinates, they weren't a match for the 5 princes at all. Do you like it? I said that I would help brother Long Xiaotian take down the position of crown prince, and I will do it as I said. Wang Xian looked at the ferocious and excited expressions of Long Xiaoqun and the rest, and a smile appeared on his face. Roar! Roar! Walala! However, just as Wang Xian finished speaking, 2 beast roars suddenly came from below. Zhang Fengying's figure appeared. She moved and came to Wang Xian's side. She stood silently by the side. 2 ferocious beasts at the first level of the see-through realm suddenly flew out from the bottom of the sea, causing the expressions of Long Xiaoqun and the other princes to change slightly. However, they did not panic. For powerhouses at the first level of the see-through realm. Even you, Wang Xian, have the combat strength of the first level of the see-through realm. It's still not enough to deal with us. Long Xiaoqun and the other princes glanced at the group of people surrounding them and said coldly, "Kill the enemy." However, Long Xiaotian did not waste any time with them. He raised his hand and roared. Roar! 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 Roars came from everyone's mouths. Chirp! Chirp! After the roars, a different kind of chirping sound was heard. At the rear, more than 10 birds that were emitting light flew over. Every bird and beast was emitting a powerful aura, especially the one in the middle that was at the first level of the profound void tier. In the dark night, it was like a blazing sun. What? That's a flying dodo bird at the profound void tier. Hiss, a flying dodo bird at the profound void tier, and more than 10 half-step profound void tier beasts. No wonder Long Xiaotian dared to show his cards at this time. With this strength, he can completely fight against the forces of the 5 princes. Those 2 middle-aged insightful void tier 1 middle-aged men and 3 ferocious beasts of insightful void tier 1 can definitely fight against the 5 insightful void tier experts beside the 5 princes. With the dodo birds and the subordinates riding on their mounts, the second prince has a high chance of winning this battle. When the surrounding people saw the dodo birds that suddenly appeared, their expressions changed slightly. Everyone had a look of amazement on their faces. Long Xiaotian's forces, even if they did not rely on the Light Dragon Dynasty, were still not to be ignored.
Kill.
Those who surrender will be spared your lives. Long Xiaotian roared. Kill. His subordinates and fierce beasts instantly moved and directly attacked the subordinates of the 5 princes. What? They did not allow Long Xiaoqun and the other princes to be shocked or have any time to think. They attacked them one by one. Face the enemy. Long Xiaoqun and the other 3 princes roared with ugly expressions. They moved and retreated to the side. They are fighting. They are fighting right now. The competition between the princes of the Light Dragon Dynasty is very cruel. The eyes of the surrounding people flickered when they saw the battle between thousands of people. Damn it! Damn it! How could Long Xiaoyan have so many fierce beasts? At this moment, the 5 princes who flew to the side watched the battle with unsightly expressions. If it weren't for that flock of dodos, their strength would definitely be stronger than Long Xiaoyan's. However, the appearance of the dodos made their subordinates completely unable to match them. Those were more than 10 half-step void interpretation fierce beasts. Chirp chirp. How could this be? How could this be? Su Wenling looked at the dodo bird that was attacking him. His face was filled with cold sweat. He never expected that the current second prince would be so powerful that he could fight against 5 of them alone. Furthermore, he could completely suppress them. A strong sense of regret surged into his heart. If he wasn't jealous of Wang Xian back then, if he had submitted to the second prince back then, he might be riding a half-step void interpretation beast now. In the future, he would also become the king's trusted aide. Now he regretted it. Looking at the beast in front of him, he immediately braced himself. With an ugly expression, he gritted his teeth and responded. There are more half-step void interpretation experts at the second prince's side. The victor has already been decided. I really didn't expect that the position of the crown prince of the Light Dragon Dynasty would last for another 7 months. I didn't expect it to be decided now. Looking at the battle in front of the island, everyone sighed. Long Xiaotian, I'll go teach your brothers a lesson. Wang Xian took a glance at the battlefield and said to Long Xiaotian with a smile. He then looked at Long Xiaoqun and the rest. Brother Wang Xian, as long as their lives are not harmed. Long Xiaotian hesitated for a moment before saying with a smile. Don't worry, they're your brothers after all. Wang Xian revealed a faint smile. With a move of his arm, the lightning strike would appeared in his hand. He narrowed his eyes slightly and looked at Long Xiaoqun and the rest. What are you going to do? When the 42nd prince saw Wang Xian looking at them with a hostile gaze, his expression changed slightly. He stared at Wang Xian with his eyes wide open. The rest of the princes also turned their heads to look at Wang Xian with uncertain expressions. You guys are making me very unhappy. Of course, I will teach you guys a lesson. The corners of Wang Xian's mouth curled up slightly as he walked over slowly. You. Long Xiaochen stared at Wang Xian with uncertain expressions. His gaze swept across Long Xiaoyan, who was behind him. Brothers, don't worry. Brother Wang Xian will not take your lives.
Don't look at me.
It's useless even if you look at me. Who asked you to make brother Wang Xian unhappy? As Long Xiaotian spoke, a faint smile appeared on his face. HMPH Wang Xian, don't think that just because you have an extraordinary status, you don't put everyone in your eyes. I, Long Xiaochen, am a heaven's favorite. Do you really think that I'm afraid of you? Long Xiaochen snorted coldly when he heard Long Xiaoyan's words. He stared at Wang Xian coldly. Heaven's pride. The corners of Wang Xian's mouth curled into a mocking smile. He was merely a heaven's pride who was ranked 7th.
Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh.
He moved his arm, and a thick and heavy thorn went straight for them. You're courting death. The expressions of the 5 of them changed drastically. They immediately picked up the weapons in their hands and slashed at the thorn. However, what frightened them was that their attacks did not have any effect when they landed on the thorn. Aha! The few of them let out a blood-curdling scream as their bodies struggled violently. Pa 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 pa. However, very soon, the sound of a face smacking was heard. The brambles were flung directly onto their faces, appearing exceptionally eye-catching in the night sky. Chapter 1310. 1310 in the main hall of PA. You. Crisp sounds and sounds of pain rang out in front of the heavenly sword sex island. Everyone looked at the scene in a daze. The 5 princes of the Radiant Dragon Dynasty, the princes with noble statuses, ended up letting out miserable cries here. I'm afraid only Wang Xian would dare to slap the faces of the 5 princes of the Radiant Dragon Dynasty in front of everyone. The winner has been announced. The Crown Prince position of the Radiant Dragon Empire will be inherited by the 2nd prince. Even if the Radiant Dragon Empire knew that the 5 princes were beaten, they wouldn't say anything. This Wang Xian's strength is really terrifying. Long Xiaochen is ranked 7th on the prodigy roll. Wang Xian has the strength of at least the 1st level of the see-through realm. There are so many monstrous prodigies on our side this year. Nameless Sword Demon, Ling Jian and Ren Xingchen all have the combat strength of the see-through realm. Now, there's also that Zhang Fengying Wang Xian. There are a total of 5 monstrous prodigies who are comparable to the see-through realm. There are so many heaven's favorites. There is always another mountain higher. This year's Heaven's Favorites ranking is considered to be a more dazzling one. When the crowd saw Wang Xian easily slapping the 5 princes of the Radiant Dragon Empire, they sighed and thought of the Heaven's Favorites today. They all felt as if they were born at the wrong time. There were a total of 5 monstrous Heaven's Favorites this year. If Qian Yu was included, there were a total of 6. In the past, it was rare for anyone under the age of 50 to have the strength of the insightful Void tier. However, there were 6 this year. What everyone did not know was that the 6 Heaven's Favorites who had the strength of the 1st level of the insightful Void tier were related to Wang Xian. The Nameless Sword Demon was Wang Xian. Qian Yu was killed by Wang Xian. Ren Xingchen was saved twice by Wang Xian. Furthermore, Wang Xian was the one who gave him the Golden Water Sword principle. Ling Jian was also saved twice by Wang Xian. As for Zhang Fengying, there was no need to mention that her bloodline and beast-taming techniques came from Wang Xian. Come to think of it, these freaks were all caused by Wang Xian. If the people in the tomb of the human and demon knew about this, they would definitely be in an uproar. We surrender. I surrender. I surrender. At this moment, the terrified voices of the 5 princes' subordinates could be heard. Wang Xian, who was slapping his face, looked towards the battlefield. A smile appeared on his face. With a wave of his arm, the thorns in his hand disappeared. Haha, wise choice. All of you are from the Guanglong dynasty in the future. There is no need to fight to the death. If all of you are willing to join my Long Xiaotian subordinates, I will welcome all of you here. As long as all of you are loyal, in the future, I will definitely not mistreat each and every one of you. Long Xiaotian saw that his brother's subordinates had surrendered and laughed loudly. He floated in the sky and roared in high spirits. Following Long Xiaotian's words, everyone stopped. The subordinates of the 5 princes floated in the sky with extremely ugly expressions. They were completely no match for the other party. Even if they had a huge advantage in numbers, the gap was too big in front of a top-tier power. Especially those 10 or so half-step void interpretation flying birds. They were completely killing machines. How could this be? Long Xiaochen and the others clenched their fists tightly when they saw this scene. Their scarred faces were filled with malevolence and powerlessness. They had lost, completely and utterly lost. They still wanted to think of a way to completely defeat Long Xiaotian in the next 7 months. But now, they had lost. They had lost so completely that the power of 5 people was not as strong as one person.
Who?
The 5 of them looked at each other, their faces ashen as they flew towards the direction of the Light Dragon Dynasty's island. Today's battle had completely disqualified them from continuing the game. There was no need for them to continue. They could already return to the Imperial City. Unless they were like the 8th prince, risking their lives to fight. But now it seemed that even if they were to risk their lives to fight, there was only a 1% chance of defeating the 2nd prince. After today, Long Xiaotian's forces would become stronger and stronger. When everyone around saw the scene, they looked at the 2nd prince who was in high spirits. Their eyes sparkled. There was an 80% to 90% chance that the king of the Dragon Dynasty would be the 2nd prince in the future. Let's go. Wang Xian looked at Long Xiaotian and revealed a smile on his face. After greeting him, he looked at Zhang Fengying and the 2 of them flew towards their residence. What had he been doing in the demi-human graveyard? Picking up girls? When they arrived at Wang Xian's residence, Zhang Fengying looked at the courtyard and asked Wang Xian, I'm here to gain experience and improve my strength. How would I have the time to pick up girls? Wang Xian shook his head speechlessly. Next, I'm going to upgrade my level to the Insightful Void stage before leaving. Why don't you go to the Divine Wind Academy and follow me to the Blood Refinement Ground in a few days? All right. Zhang Fengying nodded. In the next few days, Wang Xian, He Yuan, Long Xiaotian, and the rest played around for a few days. A few days later, He Yuan left. Long Xiaotian, who had basically secured his position as the crown prince, led his subordinates to the Huiguang Dragon Dynasty to settle some matters. He would return in a month. Wang Xian brought Zhang Fengying directly into the Blood Refinement Ground and began to hunt and devour crazily. For the next 3 months or so, they stayed in the Blood Refinement Ground. They killed more than 10,000 ferocious beasts. Name: Wang Xian. Race: 5 elements divine dragon, able to transform into a human. Level: Extraordinary Level 9. Dragon Crystal: 717640000000000. Supernatural ability: Ruling the Water Tribe. Ruling the Water Tribe that is lower than their own level. Devouring creatures to extract dragon crystals. Control of the 5 elements. Cultivation method: Divine Dragon Transformation. Ability: Fire Dragon's Flame. Gold splits the void. Wood World descends. Water threatens the city. Fury of the Earth. Soul Capture. Spirit Possession. Light and Dark Fire Dragon Eyes. Light and Dark Void. Light and Dark Shadowless. Earth Dragon Shield. Light and Dark. Divine Dragon's Fire Tail. Water Spirit. Fire Territory. Water and Wood Healing. Gold Spirit Tree Demon. Gold and Fire Cleansing. War of the Earth. Dragon Palace, Level 3. Dragon Palace members, 3,366. I'm still short of nearly 300 million dragon crystals. 3 months had passed, and Wang Xian was still short of nearly 300 million dragon crystals to level up. 300 million was not a lot, but it was definitely not a small amount. In the past 3 months, I've basically gone to all the places that I can go to in the blood refinement ground. I've even killed hundreds of demonic beasts. It's going to be difficult to continue to obtain spiritual essence and blood. Riding on the demonic Qilin, Wang Xian frowned slightly. Beside him, Zhang Fengying was also riding on a demonic Qilin. This was another demonic beast that they had tamed in the past 2 months. Let's go to the main hall and take a look, Wang Xian thought to himself. Wang Xian had already wreaked havoc in the 4 major areas of the human-demon graveyard, the Heaven's Pride stage, the training ground, and the blood refinement ground. Only the most dangerous area of the tomb of the human-demon race had not been visited by the main hall. The main hall was the stage for the insightful emptiness realm experts. It was very difficult to survive there without reaching the insightful emptiness realm. Chapter 1311. 1311 The Cruel Main Hall. Be careful. After resting for 2 days in the demi-human graveyard, Zhang Fengying walked him to the entrance and said to him,
Don't worry.
Information cannot be spread in the main hall. I might be staying there for a period of time. Don't worry, I will be fine. Wang Xian waved his hand at Zhang Fengying and flew towards the main hall. The main hall was once the core of the Bloodstream sect. It was the starting point of the Bloodstream sect's treasure trove, herb garden, and spirit stone lode. It was also the training ground for the sect leader and the elders. The main hall was the only intact building in the tomb of the demi-human. It was covered by a powerful array formation. It covered an area of about 100 kilometers. The most precious place inside was the various training rooms. As the main hall, the cultivation rooms inside were more than 10 times the size of the outside world. There were also cultivation rooms of various attributes, which corresponded to cultivation, increasing the speed of cultivation even faster. Besides these cultivation rooms, there were also many treasures in the main hall, such as spirit grass, weapons, spirit liquid, and essence blood. However, the Bloodstream sect's beast garden used to be next to the medicinal garden. After the Bloodstream sect had an accident, these fierce beasts had rushed out. They had swallowed a large amount of spiritual herbs and evolved. Now, these fierce beasts were the most common in the main hall. Fierce beasts liked to stay in places with abundant spiritual energy, which resulted in many treasure lands being occupied by fierce beasts. And if humans and demonic beasts wanted to cultivate in the cultivation room, they had to first kill the fierce beasts. If they wanted to obtain some treasures, they had to first subdue the fierce beasts. However, the beasts inside were once kept by the Bloodstream sect, and each of them had a bloodline level that was not lower than the Profound Void tier. There were even 6th-level Profound Void tier beasts, which resulted in many 6th-level Profound Void tier beasts in the main hall. These beasts were inside, which resulted in even the strongest experts in the Flowing Sea region had to be careful when entering. Demon Soul, you said that the place where you obtained the 5 elemental spirit pearl is in a mysterious cultivation room. It contains the energy of the 5 elements. Are you serious? Wang Xian rode on the Demon Soul and wore a mask on his face. He headed towards the main hall as the nameless sword demon. My king, how could I lie to you? Back then, my strength was only at level 9 of the supernatural realm. In order to pursue a powerful strength, I entered the tomb of the demi-human and coincidentally entered a cultivation room. There was a passageway in that cultivation room. After walking for dozens of kilometers, I came to an underground space. I obtained the 5 elemental spirit pearl from there. Moreover, that place was enveloped by a terrifying array formation. The 5 elemental energy was raging inside. It was extremely terrifying and I was too weak back then. After obtaining the 5 elemental spirit pearl, I left immediately. After that, I went into seclusion and broke through to the second level of the void interpretation stage. I never had the chance to go there again. The demon's soul said respectfully to Wang Xian. The main purpose of Wang Xian's visit to the main hall was to listen to the demon soul talk about this space a month ago. Due to the 5 elemental spirit pearl, the demon soul was able to reach the second level of the void interpretation stage in less than 50 years. That space contained a majestic energy of the 5 elements. If what it said was true, Wang Xian's cultivation inside was at least dozens of times that of the outside world. Let's go, increase the speed. Wang Xian nodded silently and said to the demon soul, Yes, King. The demon soul's body shook as it flew rapidly in the sky of the human demon graveyard. That is, the nameless sword demon riding on the demon scale? It's him. The nameless sword demon has appeared again. Where is he going? In the human demon graveyard, when people saw the demon's soul flying in the sky, they were all shocked. There was only one person in the entire demi-human graveyard who was riding on a demon-scale demon beast, and that person was the nameless sword demon. After the 5 sword demons disappeared for a few months, they reappeared. It was an incomparably huge building complex. Compared to the prodigy stage and the training grounds, this was the largest and most complete building complex in the demi-human graveyard. A building that was about 2,000 meters tall and reached into the clouds stood in the center. From afar, one could see the words, Main Hall of the Bloodstream Sect. It was emitting a terrifying power. A terrifying formation enveloped it. Similar to other places, half of the main hall was on land, and the other half was in the ocean. That's the Nameless Sword Demon. The Nameless Sword Demon is also in the main hall. When Wang Xian arrived at the entrance of the main hall, the 5 or 6 insightful void martial arts practitioners at the entrance looked over. The demi-human graveyard was the center of the flowing sea region. There were at least a few thousand insightful emptiness realm experts active in the surroundings. Among them, 70% of the insightful emptiness realm experts were in the main hall. If he was lucky, he might be able to obtain the inheritance of the ancient Bloodstream sect. The founders of the Bloodstream Empire and the Bloodstream sect had established their empire and sect because they obtained powerful treasures in the main hall of the Bloodstream sect. Let's go. Wang Xian glanced at the few people at the entrance and entered directly from the entrance.
Buzz.
The moment he stepped into the main hall, Wang Xian could clearly sense that the spiritual energy was several times stronger than the outside. The entrance was a corridor that was only about 20 meters long. After walking through the corridor, there were 3 intersections. In front of them were all kinds of buildings. The buildings inside were slightly damaged. It was obvious that a powerful battle had occurred here. Can you find the entrance to that place from here? Wang Xian asked the demon soul. No, we have to head towards the Sea of Demonic Beasts. Once we reach the sea, I should be able to find the place. The demon soul said to Wang Xian. Yes, all right. Wang Xian nodded his head. His eyes flashed with a demonic look as he swept his gaze forward. There were buildings and powerful formations all around him. His light dark fire dragon eyes could not penetrate through this place at all. I knew it. My strength is still too weak. The light dark fire dragon eyes were not omnipotent. The powerful energy could not penetrate through it at all. Shrink your body a little. Wang Xian jumped down from the demon soul and spoke to it. Then he dashed straight ahead. He looked around vigilantly. He had just entered the outer area. Other than encountering 2 insightful void martial artists, there was no danger. The 2 insightful void martial artists who met Wang Xian looked at him vigilantly and left hurriedly. The main hall was filled with dangers. It was very common to kill and rob people. One couldn't trust anyone here. Wang Xian steered forward. The surroundings were deathly silent. Wang Xian restrained his voice and proceeded forward carefully. The spiritual energy over there is so abundant. After walking for more than 10 kilometers, Wang Xian suddenly sensed an even stronger spiritual energy fluctuation from a room. He hesitated for a moment and flew towards that direction.
Whoosh,
Whoosh.
whoosh.
However, before he could get close, 3 terrifying attacks were launched at him. Each attack was unleashed by at least a second-level void interpretation expert. This caused Wang Xian's expression to change slightly. Chapter 1312. 1312 Danger lurked everywhere in.
Boom, boom, boom.
3 spirits battle armor. Wang Xian moved his body after the sudden attack. His body was instantly covered with a layer of powerful defense. The attack landed on his body, but was easily blocked by the 3 spirits' battle armor. Wang Xian looked at the 2 middle-aged men in front of him with a cold gaze. Nameless sword demon? The few of them looked at Wang Xian with a hint of surprise in their eyes. Get out of here. Otherwise, don't blame us for being rude. Isn't it a little inappropriate for you to attack us directly like this? Wang Xian raised his eyebrows. There was a hint of coldness in his eyes. Kiki, kid, don't you know that in the main hall, don't barge into every place with abundant spiritual energy? Be careful, you won't be able to get out once you enter. A middle-aged man revealed a smile as he stared at Wang Xian with his sinister eyes. Wang Xian raised his eyebrows as he swept his gaze across the 3 of them. He snorted softly before turning around and leaving. Should we make a move? Forget it. This nameless sword demon's strength is extremely terrifying when he is at the 2nd level of the see-through realm. The pet beside him is not simple either. After receiving the spiritual energy from the Heaven's Pride Bridge, his strength is much stronger than before. Don't take any risks. The 3 of them looked at Wang Xian's figure as their eyes sparkled as they watched him leave. This place can only be said to be the periphery of the main hall. Yet there are so many strong people here. Furthermore, they attacked without saying a word. How cruel. Wang Xian left the place where he was earlier and scanned his surroundings. In some of the intact houses, the spiritual energy contained in them was obviously much denser than in the surroundings. It was even several times denser than the surrounding area. Clearly, there was a formation in there. These houses and buildings used to be the place where the experts of the Bloodstream sect lived and cultivated. Now, some of the experts were occupying this place to cultivate. If they were to barge in recklessly, it was very likely that they would be attacked by their opponents. I should go straight to the place where the demon's soul is. Wang Xian thought to himself. He did not enter the surrounding buildings. Instead, he shuttled through the main hall and walked towards the interior.
Roar,
Roar, roar. Walking in the main hall, Wang Xian could hear the roars of ferocious beasts coming from not far away. The closer he got to the center, the louder the roars of ferocious beasts became. This should be the spiritual herb garden of the ancient Bloodstream sect. It's a pity that all of them have been destroyed by ferocious beasts. Wang Xian looked at a territory that was 1,000 meters long and 7,000 to 8,000 meters wide in front of him. He moved his body and continued flying forward. The main hall of the Bloodstream sect. He carefully arrived at the central area. Wang Xian looked at the 2,000-meter-tall main hall of the Bloodstream sect. It covered an area of about 5 kilometers. The entire building looked extremely majestic. Even the Dragon Palace could not compare to it. The entire main hall contained a terrifying energy. It had been standing there for at least 4,000 to 5,000 years. Half of the main hall was on land, and the other half was on the ocean. It was not easy to build the same building as dozens of cities. The main hall had a total of 21 floors. The former leader of the Bloodstream sect was on the top floor, overlooking the entire flowing sea area. The 2 vice leaders were on the 19th and 20th floors. The first floor of the 18 floors below was the Parliament area, while the other 17 floors were the land of the 17 elders. Currently, many places in the main hall were occupied by ferocious beasts. There were also many buildings around the main hall. Every building was a paradise for the insightful emptiness realm experts. King, we need to pass through the first floor and reach the demonic beast area on the opposite side. The demon's soul looked at the main hall in front and said to Wang Xian. Okay, let's go. Wang Xian nodded his head and walked towards the entrance of the first level of the main hall. Suddenly, Wang Xian, who was traveling, raised his eyebrows. His eyes flashed with a cold expression. 2 are at the second level of the void interpretation stage, 3 are at the first level of the void interpretation stage, and there's also a formation. He thought to himself. He did not stop at all. Kill. The moment Wang Xian got close to him, numerous attacks were launched at him. This time, it was a blatant act of killing and robbing. Kill. When Wang Xian saw his opponent's outburst, he didn't hesitate at all. His body shook and a powerful aura was emitted. He used all his strength and attacked straight ahead. Roar! How dare you ambush us?
Die!
The demon's soul roared, and his body immediately turned into about 7 to 8 meters. His huge body pounced straight ahead.
Boom!
It's the nameless sword demon. Don't be afraid. Activate the trapping formation. A calm voice came from the side. When they saw Wang Xian react, they didn't panic at all. With a shake of his arm, the formation compass was activated. The green trapping formation covered Wang Xian directly. A third-level void interpretation formation? Wang Xian looked at the trapping formation with a smile in his eyes. Without any hesitation, he charged towards the 3 of them. Go to hell. When the 3 of them saw that the formation was activated, they raised their weapons and knives and slashed towards Wang Xian and the demon's soul. You want to ambush me? You don't know what's good for you. Wang Xian waved his arm, and a stream of golden energy was released to block the 2 of them who were attacking him. Golden fire cleansing. His body shook and he easily passed through the trapping formation. His supernatural ability, golden fire cleansing, was used to attack the front. What? When the 3 people who were lying in ambush saw Wang Xian charging out of the trap formation, they were stunned. When the expert at the first level of the see-through realm saw the divine ability that was attacking him, he was shocked. Dharma Idol. Ancient Mountain Guardian. He quickly shouted in fear. An ancient mountain immediately enveloped him.
Boom! Boom! Boom!
However, at the moment when the ancient mountain was protecting him, the attack that was washed away by the golden flames had already landed on his body. The powerful supernatural ability and the crushing power. It caused the ancient mountain to collapse rapidly. No. Save me. The first level of the see-through realm expert was filled with horror as he shouted in horror. Gold crack void. Star explosion. However, Wang Xian did not give the other 2 any chance. The powerful attack directly attacked the other 2. Oh no, he can actually pass through the trapping formation. The other 2 experts at the second level of the see-through realm had a drastic change in expression. They quickly resisted. However, when they were resisting Wang Xian's defense, the other one at the first level of the see-through realm was killed on the spot. Guild Gold Sword Pursuit. Fire penetrates gold. Fire territory. Following that, Wang Xian did not stop for even a second. He combined his supernatural power and 3 attributes to attack the other 2. Each attack was able to kill a terrifying attack of a second-level insightful void martial artist without stopping for even a second. This caused the other 2 second-level insightful void martial artists to be overwhelmed with horror. Their eyes were filled with horror. Was this nameless sword demon so terrifying? Dharma Idol. Freeze thousands of miles. Dharma Idol. Heaven-turning water. The 2 of them gritted their teeth. Their bodies trembled in fear. Wang Xian's attack was too terrifying. The first attack could kill a second-level insightful void martial artist. There was no room for them to engage in a battle. Chapter 1313. 1313 went into hibernation.
Boom! Boom! Boom!
The collision between the Dharma Idol and the supernatural power. When Wang Xian's attack clashed with the Dharma idol, the two terrifying energies exploded at the entrance of the main hall. The Dharma idol and the supernatural power slowly collapsed under the collision. What? The two powerhouses at the second level of the see-through realm were horrified when they saw the Dharma idol collapsing. Run! The two of them did not hesitate at all. They turned around and fled into the distance. Wang Xian raised his eyebrows. When he saw the two of them fleeing directly into the main hall, his eyes were filled with coldness. He looked at the arm of the first-level insightful void martial artist. With a wave of his arm, he kept it into his interspatial ring. Looking at the interspatial ring on his body, Wang Xian's eyes flickered. A hint of a smile appeared in his eyes. Following that, Wang Xian went to the side and kept the formation compass. The demon souls, trapped inside, came out. This bunch of damned fellows are too despicable. The demon souls that came out of the formation roared furiously. You enter the spirit storage bag first. Wang Xian kept the demon souls into the spirit storage bag. He looked at the first level of the main hall and narrowed his eyes. A cold glint flashed in his eyes. He used the formation of the third level of the void interpretation stage to trap and kill. If it was an ordinary powerhouse below the third level of the void interpretation stage, 80% of them would be killed immediately. If it wasn't for the fact that he could ignore the formation, he would have to use all his strength to break the formation. Nameless Sword Demon. When he entered the first level of the main hall, he sensed dozens of people looking at him. Some of them were cultivating with their legs crossed, while others were conversing with each other. Everyone knew about the battle at the entrance. When they looked at Wang Xian, some of them had a glint in their eyes. There was fear and surprise. Wang Xian looked at the huge hall. There were about 40 to 50 people on the first level of the main hall. The weakest among them was at the first level of the see-through void stage. There was a group of demonic beasts more than 4 kilometers away from the main hall. There were about 60 to 70 of them. The two parties did not interfere with each other. The spiritual energy in the main hall was 7 to 8 times more than in the outside world. The density of the spiritual energy was so dense that even a see-through realm expert would be sitting cross-legged and cultivating here. The 3 people from the Frost sect ambushed him and did not kill him. On the contrary, one of them was killed. His strength is really strong. The 3 people from the Frost sect are really unlucky. However, this nameless sword demon is really not simple. Some insightful emptiness realm experts were discussing in a low voice. Wang Xian narrowed his eyes slightly and looked at the 2 people who ambushed him earlier. The 2 of them stood in the middle of a level 4 formation of the insightful emptiness realm. They stared at Wang Xian in embarrassment. In fact, in the main hall, everyone was standing inside the formation. Even the demonic beasts on the opposite side were the same. The formation was to protect themselves and prevent the surrounding people from launching an attack in an instant. It was also to prevent any demonic beasts or human experts from charging over and killing them directly. Humph. Seeing Wang Xian staring at them, the 2 experts from the cold sect snorted coldly with an embarrassed expression. They sat down cross-legged and began to recover. They didn't want to fight to the death with Wang Xian, nor did they want to create a bigger enmity with him. In the main hall, it was the best choice to kill the other party. If they couldn't kill him, then they would end it here. Wang Xian looked at the position opposite him. The demonic beasts didn't even look in his direction. Some of the demonic beasts looked at the stairs above, and their eyes were filled with passion. Stairway to heaven, he murmured. The first floor of the main hall was where the spiritual energy was the weakest. With each floor higher, the spiritual energy was much higher. When one reached the 21st floor, the spiritual energy on it was like liquid. Every floor higher was called the stairway to heaven. Only by reaching the top could one obtain some treasures and inheritances left behind by the ancient bloodstream sect. However, if one wanted to reach a higher level, one had to possess at least the strength of the second level of the see-through realm. Even the second level of the see-through realm was very difficult to reach. Wang Xian swept his gaze around and ignored them. He turned around and left. I'm still too weak here. Unless I can completely grasp the combination of 4 attributes, I even need to comprehend the combination of 5 attributes. Wang Xian thought to himself. The 2 people who ambushed him earlier could definitely enter their formation and kill them with his strength. However, he didn't do so. He would only start to wreak havoc when he was strong enough. For now, he had to keep a low profile. Otherwise, he might be targeted by the others. With this thought in mind, he walked out of the main hall and headed towards the direction of the demonic beasts. Although the light and dark fire dragon eyes were greatly restricted, it was still much more powerful than the other scouts. The demonic soul has entered the territory of your demonic beasts. After entering the ocean, Wang Xian looked at the seawater in front of him and released the demonic soul from his storage bag. Wang, I've been to this place before. I know where it is. The demonic soul looked around and said to Wang Xian, All right, let's go. Wang Xian's eyes were filled with joy as he quickly said to it, Yes. The demon's soul nodded and flew straight to the bottom of the sea. At the bottom of the sea, there were many huge buildings. Compared to the buildings of humans, the buildings at the bottom of the sea looked even bigger. The black buildings exuded a wild aura. There's a ferocious beast at the 2nd level of the see-through realm ahead. After driving for 5 minutes, Wang Xian suddenly discovered a ferocious beast hiding beside a building at the bottom of the sea. My king, the number of ferocious beasts on the demonic beast side is much more than the human side. Last time, I was chased by a ferocious beast and accidentally entered that place. The demon's soul said to Wang Xian. Okay. Wang Xian nodded his head. His eyes flickered. Let's speed up. As he said that, his body underwent a terrifying transformation. A divine dragon that was 30 to 40 meters in size appeared directly at the bottom of the sea. The huge dragon aura was directed towards the lurking ferocious beast. Roar! When the ferocious beast saw that Wang Xian had suddenly turned into a terrifying monster, its eyes were filled with astonishment.
Die!
However, Wang Xian didn't give it any chance. His huge body moved, and his terrifying dragon claws clawed at the ferocious beast. Bang! The ferocious beast released a huge water cannon in anger. When it saw that it was useless, panic appeared in its eyes. Roar! Roar! A miserable scream was heard. Wang Xian opened his huge mouth and swallowed the beast. Wang Xian, who was in the form of a divine dragon, could easily kill a powerhouse at level 2 of the see-through realm. Even if he was at level 3 of the see-through realm, he could still kill him. Let's go! Wang Xian shouted softly and let the demon's soul lead the way. It's the king. The demon's soul looked at Wang Xian's true form with respect in his eyes and immediately led the way. Wang Xian did not revert to his human form. The divine dragon was also known as the demon beast clan in the past. But because it was too powerful, it was called the dragon god clan alone. Chapter 1314. 1314 Land of 5 Elements. What kind of ferocious beast is that? What a huge body. What a terrifying figure. Be careful. It might be someone who ran out from the main hall. He must be at least at level 3 of the Void Interpretation stage. In the main hall, in the Sea of the Demonic Beast Clan, some of the demonic beasts were shocked when they saw Wang Xian speeding away. The 3rd level of the see-through realm was considered a top-notch expert in the human-demon graveyard. No one would attack such an expert recklessly. Wang, we're here. It's the building in front of us. When they were about 10 kilometers away, the demon's soul stared at a demonic beast that was only 200 to 300 meters in size. Over there? Wang Xian looked over and flew down directly. There are demonic beasts inside. When Wang Xian got closer, he sensed that there were demonic beasts inside. His body moved, and he flew straight in with his demonic soul. Roar! Roar! Before he got close, Two demonic Qilin demonic beasts came out from inside. They were 6 to 7 meters in size, and their bodies were emitting light like flames. Not good. When they saw Wang Xian flying over, the two demonic Qilin demonic beasts didn't hesitate at all and fled into the distance.
Die.
Without Wang Xian taking action, the demonic souls at the side launched a fatal attack.
What?
Sir, why are you attacking us? We are of the same race, you. The two demonic beasts saw the demonic souls suddenly taking action, and their eyes revealed fear as they roared loudly.
Roar.
Roar. However, before they could finish their words, the attacks landed on them. Wang Xian waved his dragon claw and kept the corpses of the two demonic beasts into his interspatial ring. Go in. Wang Xian swayed his body and entered the cave directly. The spiritual energy in the cave was more abundant than in the outside world. He looked around and didn't find any entrance. Wang, the entrance is here. It's very secretive. I entered it by chance back then. The demonic Lin entered the dimension-sundering cave and came to a corner.
Huh.
Wang Xian looked over with his dragon eyes and didn't find anything strange. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Following that, under his astonished gaze, the demonic soul attacked that direction heavily. Its front hooves sank into it directly. Roar! It let out a cry and drilled its head into it directly. Wang Xian followed closely behind and drilled into the ground. As soon as he entered, a chaotic aura rushed over. It's really magical. Wang Xian turned his head around and realized that the place where they had entered was already sealed. They were in a long passageway. Wang, the energy here is very chaotic, especially in that place. The energy of the 5 attributes is filled. It's impossible to cultivate in there. It's very uncomfortable to stay in there. Yaolin walked in front and spoke to Wang Xian with an unpleasant expression. Increase the speed. At this moment, Wang Xian's huge dragon eyes were emitting a scorching glow. The 5 elements' origin in his body was starting to stir. He took a deep breath and a rich energy entered his body, making him feel extremely comfortable. The chaotic 5 elements energy is actually a great tonic for me. Cultivating here is even more than 10 times better than cultivating in the Dragon Palace. The demon soul said that the chaotic energy of the 5 elements in the deepest part of the tunnel is almost like liquid. If that's the case, his eyes were burning with excitement. He moved his body and headed into the tunnel at an even faster speed. The entire tunnel was at least more than 10 kilometers long. The deeper he went in, the denser the energy of the 5 elements became. At the back, it almost formed a fog. King, we're here. It's the space in front of us. The voice of the demon soul was heard. Wang Xian looked over and saw a huge stone chamber inside. The entire stone chamber was as if it was in a liquid. It was misty, and even Wang Xian couldn't see very far. The demon soul could only see things 10 meters away from here. Wang Xian's swaying body entered the stone chamber directly. The entire stone chamber was about 2 kilometers in circumference. He came to the center of the stone chamber where there were 10 cultivation cattails. His huge eyes were staring at the bottom, and his eyes were sparkling. This place should be the center of the spirit vein. The ancient bloodstream sect was built on top of a huge spirit vein. The spirit mines in other places have already been dug out. However, the spirit mines in the main hall are sealed by a formation and cannot be dug out. This is also the reason why the main hall can stand for so long. Wang Xian placed his dragon claw next to the futon, and a rich energy was transmitted over. At this moment, Wang Xian saw a line of human words on the wall of the other party. Heaven-defying prodigy plan, cultivating the 5 elements and mastering the supernatural ability, standing at the peak of transcendence. When Wang Xian saw the line of words on the wall, his face was slightly shocked. Cultivate the 5 elements, grasp the supernatural power. Is this going to? Wang Xian was astonished. This ancient blood flow sect actually wanted to cultivate a peerless genius who cultivated the five elements at the same time, defying the heavens. This was simply too shocking. To cultivate the five elements at the same time, this difficulty was tantamount to defying the heavens. The number one seed of heaven-defying prodigy, 100 years, cultivation to level 8 of transcendence. Number 2 seed of heaven's favorite, 80 years, cultivation level to transcendent level 6. Number 3 seed of heaven's favorite, 75 years, cultivation level to transcendent level 5. There were messages carved on the wall. There were a total of 10 seeds of heaven's favorite, with the highest cultivation level being transcendent level 8. Cultivation of the five elements, difficult and difficult. It's harder than ascending to the blue sky. Bloodstream sect's heaven-defying plan has failed. Finally, there was a line of words written on the wall. Wang Xian raised his eyebrows. It's not just difficult to cultivate all five elements at the same time. If I didn't obtain the divine dragon's inheritance and possess the five elements' origin, it would be extremely difficult to improve myself. However, this land of five elements is a huge treasure trove to me. I can completely convert the energy of the five elements into dragon chi. Furthermore, this liquid-like five elements can allow me to comprehend the combination of the elements even faster. Wang Xian's eyes lit up. If he were to cultivate here, he would be able to achieve a breakthrough in less than half a year. I'm really lucky to have met this fellow demon soul. The demon soul had obtained the five elements spirit pearl by chance. This place was useless to him. However, to him, even the dragon palace could not compare to it. I'll cultivate. I'll go to the main hall when my strength has improved. Wang Xian's eyes sparkled as his huge body lay in the stone chamber. Invisible energy surged wildly into his body and rapidly converted into dragon chi.
Buzz.
He opened his mouth slightly and spat out the five elemental spirit pearl. During this period of time, the spirit pearl had yet to form into a dragon pearl. Now, under the majestic five elemental energy, the growth of the dragon pearl was accelerated. In the huge stone chamber, the crouching dragon was hiding inside and absorbing the power of the five elements. The resplendent scales were emitting all kinds of colorful radiance and looked extremely mystical. 5 fist-sized spirit pearls were floating above his head. Wang Xian began his cultivation and evolution, a qualitative transformation. Chapter 1315. 1315 Great Grinding of the Five Elements. Time passed quickly. Wang Xian lay in a mysterious stone room in the main hall and absorbed the energy of the five elements in a frenzy. Around him, the liquid-like energy of the five elements intersected chaotically. It came to Wang Xian's side and slowly flowed in. His body was 30 to 40 meters long. Every part of his body was absorbing the energy. As he inhaled and exhaled, the majestic energy was converted into dragon chi. The five elemental spirit pearl above his head was getting brighter and brighter. There was a divine dragon rotating slowly on it. The five elemental spirit pearl was slowly converted into a dragon pearl. The five elements are mutually reinforcing and restraining each other. The energy that the five elements are mutually reinforcing represents destruction. The energy that the five elements are mutually reinforcing represents good fortune. Destruction and good fortune, destruction and creation. As he absorbed the five elemental attributes and immersed himself in the chaotic energy of the five elemental attributes around him, Wang Xian suddenly felt something in his heart. He slowly opened his eyes. His left eye was blue, while his right eye was red. Following that, the dragon scales on his body began to emit different colors of light. The five colors represented by the five types of energy, metal, wood, water, fire, and earth, slowly changed from the head all the way to the position of the dragon's tail. Following that, the position of the dragon's tail changed to the position of the dragon's head. Back and forth, back and forth. It was unknown how much time had passed. Gold crack void. After an unknown period of time, Wang Xian suddenly opened his eyes. He felt something in his heart. The divine ability, Gold Crack Void, was formed above his head. Would crack void. After a few seconds, Wang Xian had a thought. Gold Crack Void was transformed into Wood Crack Void. The metal attribute was transformed into Wood attribute.
Ding.
Congratulations to host for comprehending the Wood attribute divine ability, Wood Crack Void. At this moment, the system's voice suddenly rang in Wang Xian's mind. He ignored it and did not show any fluctuations. Water splitting void. Fire splitting void. Earth splitting void. Wang Xian stared at this divine ability. His heart moved again and changed rapidly. The transformation of attributes and divine ability. The system's voice rang one after another. Wang Xian did not pay any attention to it. Gradually, the Dragon Balls flew in front of him one by one and collided with each other. Some of the collisions would cause explosions in the surroundings, while some of the collisions would make one of the attributes stronger. Whenever the two Dragon Balls collided, the sound of the system would appear in Wang Xian's mind. At the beginning, there were 2 types of Dragon Balls colliding. Later on, there were 3 types of Dragon Balls. After the 3 types of Dragon Balls, there were 4 more types. With each collision of the Dragon Balls, there would be destruction and creation energy. Destruction that countered each other. Creation that complemented each other. Small green trees appeared out of thin air and grew rapidly. Small trees could turn into gold trees, wood trees, water trees, fire trees, and earth trees. There was a glow that was emitted after the collision of the Dragon Balls, and it was filled with deathly stillness. The light produced by the collision of the Dragon Balls was filled with vitality.
Buzz.
The 5 types of energy are like a millstone when they are gathered together. In an instant, they represent vitality. Counterclockwise, they represent destruction. The combination of attributes is like the operation of a millstone. After an unknown period of time, Wang Xian suddenly felt something in his heart. Since coming to the demi-human graveyard for more than half a year, Wang Xian had spent at least half of his time comprehending the combination of attributes. Not long ago, he had already comprehended the combination of 4 attributes and was about to have a breakthrough. However, in this land of 5 elements, when the 5 elemental spirit pearl transformed into the dragon pearl, all kinds of comprehensions of the combination of 5 elements entered his mind. In just half a month, the system notifications in his mind had never stopped. During this period, he had comprehended 30 to 40 supernatural powers. However, at this moment, Wang Xian had a new understanding of the 5 elements. Life and destruction. The 5 elements are mutually reinforcing. The 5 elements are mutually reinforcing. The 5 elements millstone. The 5 elements millstone. He opened his eyes and stared at the dragon bead in front of him as he muttered, "The 5 elements millstone condense." Wang Xian's gaze focused as he let out a soft shout. The endless 5 elements energy in the surroundings suddenly surged crazily into the 5 elements dragon bead. The 5 Dragon Balls began to revolve rapidly. Liquid-like energy gathered around the 5 elemental Dragon Balls and slowly condensed. Soon, a 1-meter-wide water-quality millstone appeared. However, this did not stop. Everything had just begun. In the stone chamber, the terrifying liquid-like energy surged into the 5 elemental millstone once again. The water-quality millstone began to solidify. Roar! Wang Xian let out a soft roar. In the middle of his body, the 5 elements origin stone plate that he had obtained on Earth flew out slowly and entered the 5 elements millstone.
Buzz.
When the energy from the origin entered the millstone, the absorption speed of the 5 elements became even more terrifying. The 5 elements energy in the stone chamber began to thin out at a terrifying speed. Crack, crack, crack. After a day, the ground began to collapse and a large amount of 5 elements energy surged into the stone chamber from below. Wang Xian looked at the 5 elements millstone quietly. This was his natal artifact that he had unintentionally created by comprehending the 5 elements with the help of the 5 elemental dragon pearl. 5 elements millstone. The energy of the 5 elements gradually dried up. There was no more energy in the stone chamber. A 2-meter-long millstone was suspended in the sky. The millstone was emitting 5 colored rays of light. Yao Lin, who was at the side, looked at this scene with a shocked expression. His body was trembling on the ground. Wang Xian raised his dragon head slightly, and the 2-meter-long millstone of the 5 elements entered his body directly. Crack,
Crack.
crack, hiss. A tearing pain suddenly came from his body. The 5 elements millstone began to operate on his body.
Ding.
Congratulations to host for comprehending the 5 elements' divine ability, the 5 elements millstone.
Ding.
The 5 elements millstone has destroyed the other 5 elements. Name: Wang Xian. Race: 5 elements divine dragon, able to transform into a human. Level: Transcendent Level 9. Dragon Crystal 917640000000000. Divine Ability: Ruling the Water Tribe. Ruling the water tribe that is lower than your own level. Devouring creatures to extract dragon crystals. Control of the 5 elements. Cultivation method: Divine Dragon Transformation. Supernatural ability: Soul Capture, Spirit Possession, Light and Dark Fire Dragon Eyes, Light and Dark Void, Light and Dark Shadowless, Light and Dark, Great Grinding of the 5 elements. Possessing the Dragon Palace. Level 3. Members of the Dragon Palace, 3,396. Hiss, I didn't expect to be able to completely control the 5 elements. The changes are so huge. All the supernatural abilities of the 5 elements have been obliterated, leaving only the great grinding of the 5 elements. Wang Xian swayed his body as he looked at his body that was more dazzling and corporeal than before. He felt that his strength had at least doubled. Apart from that, the recovery of energy had also increased by a lot. In his mind, the usage of the 5 elements had reached a terrifying level. 5 elements grindstone. His body moved and a huge grindstone that occupied the entire stone room appeared out of thin air. On this millstone, 5 50-meter-long divine dragons were binding it with 5 elemental chains. As long as Wang Xian had a thought, the 5 metal, wood, water, fire, and earth divine dragons would be able to pull this huge millstone. When the 5 elemental millstone was activated, it would either bring about a dense life force or a terrifying destruction. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Chapter 1316. 1316 Attacked without restraint. Hiss. Wang Xian looked at the 5 elements millstone that was 2 kilometers in circumference above his head. A look of shock appeared on his face. The entire 5 elements millstone was like the controller of this piece of sky. Golden yellow, wood green, aqua blue, fiery red, and earthy yellow. There were 5 colors. Each of the attributes took up 1/5 of the space. Above the attributes, there was an attribute dragon. Looking at the 5 elements millstone, Wang Xian couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. His heart skipped a beat. On the 5 elements millstone, the divine dragon galloped and the 5 elements millstone began to revolve slowly.
Buzz.
A strong life force was transmitted over. The strong life force made Wang Xian's spirit jolt. Following that, he waved his arm and a destructive aura was suddenly transmitted over. Below, the demon's soul was lying on the ground, trembling. His eyes were filled with despair as he looked at the 5 elements millstone in the sky. He was powerless to resist it. With the strength of the demon's soul at the 2nd level of the void interpretation stage, he didn't have the qualifications to resist it at all. After using the 5 elements millstone briefly, the corner of Wang Xian's mouth curled up slightly. The Five Elements millstone was both a divine ability and a divine artifact. The origin of the Five Elements grindstone came from the Five Elements dragon pearl and the Five Elements origin. Now that he had used it, he could easily control the Five Elements. With the Five Elements grindstone, he could destroy and heal. With Wang Xian's current strength, it was no exaggeration to say that he could kill a level 4 see-through expert. As for a level 5 see-through expert, he should be able to escape from him or even fight against him. I'm still short of 100 million dragon crystals to level up. As long as I level up, I can kill a powerhouse at level 5 of the see-through realm. In the entire Luhai region, only the Blood Flow Empire and the leader of the Heavenly Sword Sect are not a match for me. Wang Xian's eyes sparkled. With a move of his body, he transformed into a human form. With a wave of his arm, the Five Elemental grindstone in a radius of 2 kilometers in the sky shrunk and turned into a size of 10 meters that floated in the sky. The shrinking of its form did not affect the terrifying power of the Five Elements millstone. Wang Xian looked at the Five Elements millstone and thought of something. Buzz buzz. The entire Five Elements millstone began to rotate slowly and finally formed a Five Elements crown. There were 5 divine dragons on the crown, and it looked majestic. Not bad, not bad. Wang Xian froze on top of his head. With a flick of his arm, a water mirror appeared in front of him. He looked at himself on it and revealed a smile. I have to consume all the spiritual liquid in the interspatial ring. Wang Xian opened the space and consumed all the spiritual liquid and blood essence obtained from killing the first-level see-through expert of the Frost Sect and 2 demonic beasts. However, even so, he was still short of about 80 million dragon crystals to upgrade his level. Next, there are 2 ways to increase my strength quickly. One is to kill and loot, and the other is to ascend to a higher main hall. There was nothing easier than killing and looting to accumulate resources. Even if one climbed up to the higher main hall, it might not be as fast as killing and looting. Let's go and see if the 2 guys from Cold Sect who ambushed me are still around. Wang Xian raised his eyebrows and looked at the demon's soul lying on the ground. Let's go out. Yes, King. The demon's soul nodded its head in awe. It immediately got up and lowered its head. Wang Xian flew directly to the demon's soul and sat on it. Roar! The demon's soul let out a soft roar and flew out. Riding on a demon Qilin demon beast at the 2nd level of the Void Interpretation stage, he wore a crown that was transformed by the 5 elements grinding and a black robe. Coupled with a mysterious mask, Wang Xian was like the king of darkness. When he was in the main hall, Wang Xian was a little apprehensive of other top-notch experts. Now, as long as he did not encounter a terrifying existence at level 6 of the see-through realm, he could escape even if he could not defeat the others. Therefore, he did not have any fear. The demon's soul rushed out from the room and flew out directly. It was unrestrained and did not hide anything. Roar! Sensing the invincible aura from Wang Xian, the demon's soul roared and flew towards the main hall. It's the traitor, the demon's soul. The nameless sword demon of the human race is on him. It's them. Damn their judgment. How dare they come to us so arrogantly? Go, kill him. The demon soul's roar attracted the attention of the surrounding 4 to 5 demon beasts. When they saw Wang Xian and the demon soul, their eyes revealed a cold, killing intent. The betrayal of the demon soul had caused many demon beasts to lose face and wanted to kill them. Now that they saw the demon soul and the nameless sword demon, they naturally wouldn't let them off.
Kill.
4 demon beasts of the 2nd level of the see-through realm and one of the 1st level of the see-through realm attacked them directly. Wang Xian turned his head and looked over. His eyes were flashing with a cold expression. 5 elements grinding, crushing. He snorted lightly, and the crown on his head flew out. In an instant, it turned into 1,000-meter-wide 5 elements grinding.
Buzz.
A special sound rang out. It was like the gears of history turning. A five-colored light enveloped it. On it, the five divine dragons were slowly pulling the grinding disc. It was operating.
Death.
Aha! A miserable scream rang out. From the five elements grinding to crushing, it only took an instant. Wang Xian's eyes flickered. The five elements millstone shrank and flew directly to the top of his head, turning into a crown. The five elements millstone is operating. All creatures below the five elements millstone will either resist the attacks of the five types of energy or die immediately. He looked at the demonic beast that was killed instantly and revealed a hint of a smile in his eyes. Just now, it was just a little operation of the five elements millstone. If he were to use the power that countered the five elements at full force, it would create a destructive domain below the five elements millstone. If he didn't have sufficient strength in that domain, he would definitely die. In the future, his opponent would only be able to fight against Wang Xian if he could withstand the attacks of the five elements grindstone. Let's go. After killing the five demonic beasts in an instant, Wang Xian's expression didn't change at all. He looked at the demonic beast's interspatial ring and swallowed the spiritual essence and blood directly. He had gained another 10 million dragon crystals. He was getting closer and closer to leveling up. I have stayed in the land of five elements for more than 6 months. I wonder if the few people from the cold sect are still around. Wang Xian sat on the demon's soul and raised his head slightly. He looked at the entrance.
Boom.
The demon's soul dashed forward. It did not hold back in the dangerous main hall. It charged into the main hall through the entrance with a huge force. The demon's soul charged into the main hall in such a high-profile manner, instantly attracting the attention of the demonic beasts and humans. It's the nameless sword demon. It's the demon soul. It's the traitor, demon soul. The demon soul charged into the center of the first level of the main hall. Some humans and demonic beasts immediately recognized it. Wang Xian sat on the demon soul and looked down at all the humans and demonic beasts around him. Are you still there? He looked at the position of Han Zong. The 2-second level insightful emptiness realm experts were sitting cross-legged in the formation and cultivating. Compared to the two of them, there were 7 to 8 more people beside them. Among them, there were 6 young men and middle-aged men who had yet to reach the insightful emptiness realm. Chapter 1317. 1317 acted unscrupulously. Nameless sword demon, supreme chosen one, he's really arrogant. He has the right to be arrogant. I'm really envious. Who do you think is stronger than our young master? Of course, it's our young master. Our young master entered the Forbidden Land and obtained a huge opportunity. In the future, he'll become the strongest expert in the flowing sea region. This nameless sword demon is a little unbridled. Although he is a supreme heaven's pride expert, he is a little too proud to behave like this in the main hall. Wang Xian rode on the demon soul and stood in the middle of the first level of the main hall. His unbridled aura caused everyone around to raise their eyebrows slightly. At the position of Frost Sect, a few young men looked at Wang Xian and discussed in a low voice. Wang Xian stared at the Frost Sect's location with a hint of killing intent in his eyes. Roar, roar. The demon's soul let out a low roar as a murderous aura was emitted. It slowly walked towards the Frost Sect's location. When the people on the first floor saw Wang Xian walking over, they were astonished and stared at him with doubt. Demon soul, you damn traitor. At this moment, a few low growls suddenly came from the side. Demon soul turned his head and saw 6 demon-scale demon beasts staring at him coldly. In the past, demon soul was the pride of their demon-scale demon beasts. Now it had become the shame of their race. Every demon-scale demon beast wished that they could kill demon soul. The demon soul took a glance at the few demon beasts. Each of them had the strength of the second level of the see-through realm. Roar. It let out a low roar in disdain and ignored them. It continued to walk towards the location of the Frost Sect. Kill this traitor. Let's kill it. A demon Lin beast roared. The demon flames on its body spread out in a radius of 100 meters. Wait a minute. A demonic Lin beast took 2 steps forward slowly to stop the violent demonic Lin. It looked at Wang Xian and the demonic soul with a cold gaze. This nameless sword demon is going to the location of the Frost Sect. What is he going to do? Is he going to take revenge for the sneak attack that happened a few months ago? With his strength, he shouldn't be a match for the 4 level 2 insightful void martial artists. Furthermore, they are in the formation. When the 40 to 50 insightful void martial artists saw Wang Xian walking towards the direction of the Frost Sect, they were astonished. What is this nameless sword demon doing? Is he courting death? When the group of Frost Sect saw Wang Xian walking over, their eyes revealed a cold expression. Kid, what do you mean? An elder at level 2 insightful void martial artist raised his head slightly and walked out of the formation. He stared at Wang Xian with a cold gaze and questioned. 6 months ago, you guys ambushed me. Today, I will return it. Wang Xian stared at them and said with a calm expression. With just you? The elder's face was gloomy. Looks like you are here to court death. You really think highly of yourself as a supreme prodigy. Humph. The elder stared at Wang Xian with disdain. Behind him, 3 experts at the 2nd level of the see-through realm walked out and stood around the elder. He wants to deal with us? This nameless sword demon is really arrogant. He really thinks that he is invincible in the world. If our cold sect wants to kill him, it will be a piece of cake. The few young men in the formation looked at Wang Xian in surprise and said with a slightly disdainful and cold face. The sect master of the cold sect is a top-notch expert at the 4th level of the see-through realm. This nameless sword demon is making an enemy out of the cold sect. He is not rational. 6 months ago, the 3 people from the Frost Sect attacked him and killed one of them. In the end, they didn't dare to continue attacking him. Could it be that after 6 months of cultivation, his strength has improved? Even if it has improved, making an enemy out of the Frost Sect would be courting death. The elders and sect master of the Frost Sect are up there. Some of the people around were also astonished when they heard Wang Xian's words. I am a person who holds grudges. Since you dare to ambush me and want to kill and rob me, I will naturally not return the favor. Wang Xian looked at the group of people from the Frost Sect and smiled faintly. His crown shimmered. Wang Xian moved his body and instantly disappeared from his demon soul. The demon-free sword in his hand attacked the 4 insightful emptiness realm experts directly. You are courting death.
Kill him.
The 4 people from the cold sect were furious when they saw Wang Xian's attack. The old man in the middle roared loudly. A blue staff appeared in his hand. The few people beside him also picked up their weapons instantly. The temperature of the entire first layer instantly dropped by dozens of degrees.
Buzz.
However, at this moment, a black ray of light shot toward them directly. The expressions of the 4 people from the cold sect who were about to make a move froze instantly.
Clang.
Wang Xian's figure appeared in front of them. He sheathed his demon-free sword and walked to the side of the 4 people who were still. With a wave of his arm, he kept all the interspatial rings in their hands. He didn't even spare their corpses. This. Everyone in the surroundings was stunned. They looked at this scene in astonishment. Trash. Wang Xian smiled faintly and looked at the few people in the Frosty Sex formation. You actually dared to kill our martial uncle. You're done for. Our sect leader and elders are up there. You're done for. The remaining 6 young men's expressions changed drastically as they stared at Wang Xian and shouted. A bunch of trash. Back then, you guys dared to ambush me. You should be prepared to die. Wang Xian looked at the 6 young men in the formation and walked straight over. You. Don't be afraid. Let's contact the elders and sect leader. We have the formation. They can't get in. The 6 young men saw Wang Xian walking over step by step and said with a face full of fear. He smiled faintly and walked to the front of the water-blue formation. Under the astonished gazes of the 6 young men, Wang Xian walked straight in. What? When the 6 young men from the Frost sect saw that Wang Xian had walked straight through the formation, their eyes widened as they stared at him in disbelief. Looking at his indifferent expression, their bodies began to tremble. How is this possible? An instant kill? The nameless sword demon actually killed 4 experts from the Frost sect who were at the 2nd level of the see-through realm in an instant. So powerful. Insta-kill. This nameless sword demon's strength has broken through again? At least the strength of a profound void tier 3 expert. The surrounding profound void tier experts revealed shocked expressions. Insta-killing 4 profound void tier 2 experts in one move. How did the nameless sword demon become so terrifying?
Awe.
Right at this moment, a pained cry sounded from the side. Seeing that the 6 core disciples of the Frost sect were killed, everyone's pupils contracted again. He could actually enter the 4th level of the Void Interpretation Formation directly. What treasures did he have on him? Wang Xian took his time to put away the interspatial rings of the 6 core disciples of the Frost sect before putting away the formation. He walked slowly to the side of the demon soul and looked in the direction of the demon beasts. You few demon beasts want to die. It's good that you have finished them off. Now, it's your turn. Chapter 1318. 1318 was completely suppressed. When Wang Xian finished his words, his body moved and instantly attacked the 6 demonic beasts. Roar! Damn it, run. This despicable human, all of us demonic beasts will join hands to kill him. The demonic beasts stared at Wang Xian with wide eyes and shock. When they saw him rushing over, they fled back in fear. Some of them even roared in anger. However, Wang Xian didn't give them any time. Among the demonic beasts that stayed on the 1st level, none of them were above the 2nd level of the see-through void stage. The demon-free sword in his hand vibrated slightly. A special energy attacked the 6 demonic beasts of the demonic Lin clan in front of him. Oh no, quickly dodge. 2 of the demonic Lin beasts were filled with shock as they hurriedly fled into the distance. The other 4 demonic beasts were unable to dodge in time and were directly enveloped by a black fog. The 5 elements energy contained in the fog directly annihilated and killed them. Another 4 experts at the 2nd level of the see-through realm were instantly killed. At this moment, Wang Xian was like an invincible demon king. Any enemy would be instantly killed in one move. Watching the nameless sword demon kill 8 experts at the 2nd level of the see-through realm in 2 moves, the entire 1st level was completely silent. Regardless of whether it was the demonic beasts or the humans, all of them swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Their eyes were filled with fear. It's almost time to return to the Dragon Palace. I should get some corpses of the insightful void martial artists back to help the members of the Dragon Palace raise their levels. Wang Xian thought to himself. He swept his gaze across all the demonic beasts in the hall and started moving. Run. This despicable human. Hide in the formation. Not good. He can break into the formation directly. The 3rd level formation of the Void Interpretation stage is completely useless. A series of panicked voices and terrified cries were heard, causing chaos in the entire 1st level of the main hall. When some demonic beasts saw Wang Xian rushing into a formation and killing the demonic beasts inside, they were even more terrified. They used the array formation to create a safe space to prevent the other party's experts from coming over to kill them wantonly. Now, this human actually disregarded the array formation. The rest of the demonic beasts didn't hesitate at all and fled frantically outside. All of you, stay behind. The crown on Wang Xian's head swayed slightly and charged forward with destructive energy. The energy covered an area of 1,000 meters. All the demonic beasts that were covered by the energy were killed. At least 20 corpses of the demonic beasts were lying on the ground. This caused the rest of the demonic beasts to walk out frantically. Wang Xian didn't continue to chase after them. He moved his body and kept the corpses into his interspatial ring. The demonic beasts also possessed interspatial rings. However, the treasures in them were much less than those of humans. The improvement of the strength of the demonic beasts depended entirely on resources. After they obtained some resources, they would immediately convert them into strength. However, even so, more than 20 demonic beasts at the insightful void tier still brought Wang Xian a lot of blood essence and spiritual liquid. Nameless sword demon he. Behind them, the human powerhouses who were staying in the formation saw this scene, and their pupils couldn't help but shrink. They swallowed a mouthful of saliva and kept the formation. Then, they slowly retreated outside. It was very common to kill and rob people in the graveyard of demons and humans. They were really afraid that the nameless sword demon would attack them. This made some people flee outside in fear. Wang Xian's eyes swept across more than 20 insightful void martial artists. His eyes were sparkling. If he could kill all of them, his level would definitely increase. No, don't kill us. We have no enmity with you. One of the insightful emptiness realm experts saw the glint in Wang Xian's eyes. He quickly shouted and walked out. Forget it. Wang Xian shook his head. He did not attack when he saw all the human experts escaping. On the first level of the main hall, everyone had escaped. At this moment, at the stairway to heaven at the entrance to the second level, 3 middle-aged men walked out. They were dressed in Blood Flow Dynasty's attire. When they saw that Wang Xian was the only one riding on the demon soul in the hall, they were surprised. Nameless Sword Demon? This is the Nameless Sword Demon who obtained the Supreme Heaven's Pride. It's him, a very mysterious kid. The 3 of them looked at Wang Xian. Kid, where are the people in the hall on the first floor? Where did they go? Could it be that there are treasures unearthed in the main hall? The old man in the middle stared at Wang Xian with a twinkle in his eyes as he asked him. I don't know. Wang Xian shook his head lightly. He patted his demon soul and walked towards the stairway to heaven. Kid, I'm asking you a question. What's with your attitude? Maybe he thinks that he's a Supreme Heaven's Pride expert and doesn't take anyone seriously. Back then, when our Blood Flow Empire invited him, this fellow didn't even reply. The 2 elders beside him saw Wang Xian's cold and arrogant look. They narrowed their eyes slightly and said coldly, How impudent. The eyes of the elder in the middle also revealed a cold look. He raised his palm, and a terrifying flame rose from it. You're courting death. When Wang Xian saw them making their move, the crown on his head spun and turned into a 100-meter-wide 5 elements millstone. It pressed down on them directly. You still dare to fight back? Do you really think that a Supreme Heaven's Pride expert can suppress everyone? The elder in the middle glared angrily. An aura of a level 3 insightful void martial artist was emitted. He raised both his palms and attacked the 5 elements millstone directly. Suppress. Wang Xian moved slightly. The 2 flaming palms that were attacking the 5 elements millstone suddenly doubled in size and attacked the 3 of them at an even more terrifying speed. What? What kind of supernatural ability is this? The 3rd-level insightful void martial artist's face was filled with shock. His entire body was exuding an even more terrifying flame. However, the moment the flame rose, it actually became chaotic. It was as though he could not control his own strength. What is this? He had a horrified expression on his face as he watched helplessly as the flaming palm descended. Boom! The expert at level 3 of the see-through realm was instantly killed, along with 2 other experts at level 2 of the see-through realm. A look of contempt appeared on Wang Xian's face. He walked over and kept the interspatial ring and the corpse. Wang Xian checked all the interspatial rings. He took out the spiritual liquid and blood essence and consumed them immediately. There were more than 30 interspatial rings of void interpretation stage powerhouses in total. The spiritual liquid and blood essence contained in the interspatial rings increased the amount of dragon crystals by about 40 million. He looked at the amount of dragon crystals required to upgrade his level. It was only about 10 million. If he was lucky, it wouldn't be long before his strength would be able to break through the void interpretation stage and reach the third change of the divine dragon transformation. Let's go up and take a look. Wang Xian looked at the stairway to heaven. He rode on his demon's soul and flew straight up. At a height of about 20 meters, when Wang Xian arrived at the upper level, he realized that the second level was completely different from the first level. On the second level, there were many rooms. Each room contained a majestic spiritual energy. Chapter 1319. 1319 Young Master. When he arrived at the second floor, the dragon's eyes of light and dark fire scanned through the rooms on the second floor. There were only 2 human powerhouses cultivating in the 2 rooms. The thick and heavy metal door was tightly shut. Even a powerhouse at the 3rd level of the void interpretation stage would find it difficult to break through it. Wang Xian hesitated for a moment and continued to walk towards the 3rd floor. Roar! Suddenly, when Wang Xian had just arrived at the 3rd level, he heard the roar of a beast. He looked over and saw a demonic beast fighting with a ferocious beast. Both the demonic beast and the ferocious beast were at the 3rd level of the see-through realm. When the demonic beast saw Wang Xian suddenly coming up from below, its cold eyes swept across him. Damn it, you ruined my plan. The demonic beast let out a cry with a sullen face. With a leap, it flew out from a window on the 3rd floor. I can't believe I can get out from the 3rd floor. On the contrary, I can't fly up from the outside. Wang Xian revealed a look of astonishment. There weren't many complicated terrains in the main hall. Each floor was where the elders of the Bloodstream sect cultivated. As it was the starting point of the spirit vein, each level contained a huge amount of spiritual energy. This place was the most powerful blessed land in the entire Luhai region. This was also the reason why many insightful emptiness realm experts gathered here. They continued to walk up to the 4th, 5th, and 6th level. There were humans or demonic beasts in each of the sealed rooms. The rooms were not a formation. Even Wang Xian would find it extremely difficult to enter. After all, the people who used to live here had the strength of at least level 5 of the see-through realm. With his strength, he could not break through the houses they built. When he reached the 10th floor in a row, Wang Xian suddenly realized that there were 5 to 6 old men sitting cross-legged and cultivating. Hanzong, these are the people from Hanzong. Wang Xian's gaze swept across the 6 of them as his eyes sparkled. However, very soon, the killing intent in his heart disappeared. Among the 6 old men, the lowest was at level 3 of the see-through realm. One of them was at level 4 of the see-through realm and was extremely powerful. With his current strength, he could only kill all of them after he transformed into a divine dragon. However, there was a figure in a cultivation room behind them. If that person was stronger, he would have no choice but to flee. This floor is reserved by our Frost sect. Immediately, when the 6 people from the Frost sect on the 10th floor sensed that Wang Xian had stepped onto the floor, the bald old man who was sitting in the middle spoke coldly. However, before he could finish his words, he suddenly narrowed his eyes. "Kid, which sect are you from?" The bald old man asked with a twinkle in his eyes. "No sect, no sect. He's just an unaffiliated person," Wang Xian said faintly. "He seems to be that nameless sword demon. He's this year's Supreme Heaven's Pride expert. A few months ago, Han Shan and the rest ambushed him. One of our deacons was killed." An old woman in aquamarine clothes, who was sitting cross-legged not far from the bald old man, suddenly spoke in a hoarse voice. "Oh, is that so? Those little guys from Han Shan, get them to get some strong corpses for young master to devour. These little guys only got 2 of them. Supreme Heaven's Pride, not bad. Let's use you as young master's nourishment. The bald old man had just finished his words when his body disappeared instantly. A stream of water that was like a demonic creature attacked Wang Xian directly. What? Wang Xian narrowed his eyes slightly when he saw the old man suddenly attacking him. Young Master? He was called Young Master by an old man at the 4th level of the Void Interpretation stage. When he was on the 1st level, Wang Xian heard the young man from the Frost sect mention the term Young Master. Since this old man was addressed as Young Master, could it be that the Frost sect had an expert at level 5 of the Void Interpretation stage? How come he had never heard of this faction before? Wang Xian had some doubts in his heart. The crown on his head turned into a 5 elements millstone and headed toward the expert at level 4 of the Void Interpretation stage.
Boom.
A terrifying explosion sound exploded in front of the 5 elements millstone. The 5 elements millstone trembled for a moment. As expected, it's a little difficult to fight against an expert at the 4th level of the Void Interpretation stage. However, I'm not necessarily afraid of him. Wang Xian looked at the bald elder, who was sent flying backward. He narrowed his eyes slightly. Annihilate! The 5 elements millstone turned into a radius of 1,000 meters. The 5 elements counteracted each other and created a terrifying, annihilating space.
What?
What a strong kid. Impossible. His strength is at the 4th level of the Void Interpretation stage. The bald elder sensed the terrifying attack from the 5 elements millstone, and his expression changed slightly. You people from the Frost sect are really courting death. A hint of anger flashed in Wang Xian's eyes. He was suddenly attacked 6 months ago. Now, he actually wanted to kill him and turn him into energy to be devoured. It seemed that if he didn't destroy Han Zhong, he would really think that Wang Xian was easy to bully. What's going on? At this moment, a mechanical sound came from a room at the back of the 10th floor. The stone door at the back opened slowly. When Wang Xian saw an extremely old arm stretching out, his pupils constricted slightly. Let's go. Wang Xian didn't hesitate at all. He moved his body and flew directly toward the 11th floor. Grand Elder. The bald elder and a few other elders saw the stone door approaching. Their expressions changed slightly as they bowed and shouted. Haha, let's go out. It's almost time. At this moment, a young voice that was laughing heartily came from inside. A thin and weak young man with long hair and disheveled hair walked out slowly. His incomparably sharp gaze swept the surroundings, and his eyes were filled with excitement. Young Master. The bald old man sensed the young man's aura, and his pupils constricted slightly as he called out respectfully in shock. Let's go. There are still 2 days before the day of the Crown Prince's establishment. Second brother. Oh, second brother, I want to give you a big surprise. Haha, perhaps you would never have thought that not only did I not die when I entered the Origin Light Dragon Pool, even obtained a great opportunity. Kiki. And that fellow, I hope that you will appear. When the time comes, I will personally kill you. The thin and frail long-haired young man raised his head slightly and laughed arrogantly. His body was filled with a terrifying, baleful aura. Even though his body was of the light attribute, it still gave off a sinister feeling. With your talent, the flowing sea region will be under your feet in the future. A stiff voice came from behind again. An old man with an extremely shriveled body and skin and bones walked out mechanically. The old man didn't seem to have any signs of life. However, his emerald green body possessed a terrifying energy. That voice, and that bald old man's respectful expression. He should be at the 5th level of the Void Interpretation stage. Wang Xian rushed straight to the 11th floor. When he sensed that there was no pursuit from below, he frowned slightly. 5th level of the Void Interpretation stage. Young Master. I encountered a powerhouse at the 5th level of the Void Interpretation stage on the 10th floor. Wouldn't it be more dangerous up there? Wang Xian looked at the hall on the 11th floor and realized that there was a demonic beast cultivating inside a room. Chapter 1320. 1320 The Strong Creature and the Nameless Sword Demon. I have to improve my strength to the insightful emptiness realm first. When the time comes, I have to find an opportunity to kill that frost sect. Wang Xian's eyes flickered. He moved his body and continued to fly towards the higher level. Roar! Roar! When Wang Xian arrived at the 13th level, the situation inside and outside had completely changed. There were more than a dozen ferocious beasts, and each of them was at level 3 of the Void Interpretation stage. 4 of them had a body size, thick scales, and 2 huge rhinoceros horns. However, their bodies were not that heavy. Spirit Horn Scale Beasts. They are Spirit Horn Scale Beasts at level 3 of the Void Interpretation stage. Wang Xian immediately recognized the group of ferocious beasts, and his eyes flashed with a cold luster. According to rumors, the upper levels of the main hall were occupied by ferocious beasts. Even the strongest person in the Luhai region had only reached level 17 or 18. No one had entered the top level before. Now, it seems that it was as expected. Kill. Without any hesitation, Wang Xian turned into a divine dragon and attacked the dozen of spiritual horn scale beasts.
Boom, boom, boom.
A huge 5-elemental millstone appeared on the 13th floor. Suppress. After transforming into a divine dragon, Wang Xian's strength increased by a notch. Under the suppression of the 5-elemental millstone, the dozen of spiritual horn-scale beasts of the 3rd level of the see-through realm were instantly suppressed. These few rooms had all been searched by someone. What bad luck. After putting away the corpse of the spirit horn beasts, Wang Xian looked around a few rooms, but did not find any treasures. He looked up and moved to the 14th level. This is... When he had just stepped into the 14th level, he immediately saw a huge demonic beast entrenched inside. It had a 20-meter-long body, pitch-black scales all over its body, and a huge triangular head. Hiss, hiss, hiss. Demon-tailed venomous snake. It's a demon-tailed venomous snake demonic beast. Wang Xian stared at this demonic beast with his dragon eyes. Demon-tailed venomous snake demonic beast was a species of demonic beasts. This kind of demonic beast was very rare among the demonic beasts in the human-demon graveyard. However, the bloodline level of this kind of demonic beast was not low. Seeing that Wang Xian had arrived at the 14th level, it raised its head slightly. Its cold triangular eyes were filled with warning. Get out of my territory. The demon-tailed venomous snake roared directly. Water creature, if that's the case. Wang Xian's eyes revealed a cold expression. He moved his body and attacked the demon-tailed venomous snake directly. Get out of my territory. The demon-tailed viper roared loudly as a mouthful of black liquid spewed out from its mouth. The terrifying liquid instantly engulfed the entire 14th layer. Suppress. Wang Xian's dragon body trembled as the 5 elements millstone covered the entire 14th layer. The terrifying destructive power emitted by the 5 elements counteracting each other was directed towards the demon-tailed viper. Hiss, hiss, hiss. What is this? Its cold triangular eyes were filled with fear as it stared at the 5 elements millstone. With a long tail, it attacked the 5 elements millstone directly.
Boom.
The terrifying attack caused a violent tremor. Suppress. Wang Xian roared once again. The 5 divine dragons on the 5 elements millstone started to run wildly while the 5 elements millstone was operating. Below them, a world-destroying scene appeared. The demon-tailed viper below seemed to be undergoing a tribulation and was being attacked by the heaven and earth.
Roar, roar, roar.
The entire 14th floor seemed as though it was about to explode. The power of the 5 elements explosion caused many wounds to appear on its body. Hiss, hiss. Feeling the intense pain from its body, the demon-tailed viper was filled with fear.
Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh.
Its huge body fled out of the window. If you want to escape, I will devour you. Then I will be able to level up. Where are you going to escape to? Wang Xian's eyes were extremely cold. He opened his huge mouth. The 5 elements grinding mill immediately shrunk and entered its mouth.
Buzz.
His dragon scales emitted a bright luster. Wang Xian moved his body and flew out. Roar! A dragon roar was heard in the main hall. Wang Xian stared at the escaping demon-tailed venomous snake and chased after it. After dashing out of the 14th floor of the main hall, Wang Xian's dragon eyes stared at the demon-tailed venomous snake. He opened his huge mouth and bit at it. Hiss, hiss, hiss. The demon-tailed venomous snake was suspended in the air. It swung its huge tail and swung it at Wang Xian. Annihilate! The 5 elements' energy circulated in the scales on Wang Xian's body. The 5 elements' grinding mill was located behind his body. Its attack was even more terrifying. The dragon claw struck out and contained the explosion of the 5 elements.
Boom, boom, boom.
A violent explosion was heard. Huge wounds appeared on the tail of the demon-tailed viper instantly. Hiss, hiss, hiss. The demon-tailed viper shook its body in fear and wanted to escape into the distance. Bind. Roar. Wang Xian roared again. The phantom of a divine dragon dashed out from his body. The phantom was formed from the 5 elements' energy. It flew to the surroundings of the demon-tailed venomous snake and coiled it tightly. Hiss, hiss, hiss. The rapid and terrified sounds reverberated throughout the entire sky. Look, what is that? Oh my god, it's 2 powerful demonic beasts at least at the 4th level of the see-through realm fighting. That's the demon-tailed viper. What is that? What kind of demon beast is that? Or is it a ferocious beast? Oh my god, that 30 to 40 meter long ferocious beast is going to devour that demon-tailed viper. That demon-tailed viper is a 4th level profound void tier demon beast. In the main hall, there are very few human experts at the 5th level of the profound void tier, and those at the 6th level of the profound void tier have not appeared for a long time. 2 4th level profound void tier creatures are basically at the top level. Is that 30 to 40 meter long creature at level 4 or level 5 of the see-through realm? Wang Xian and the demonic vipers were fighting about 1,000 meters away from the main hall. Many humans and demonic beasts in the surroundings looked over at the same time. Their faces were filled with shock. However, in this place, the demonic vipers were directly swallowed by the 30 to 40 meter long creature under everyone's shocked gaze. Terrifying. Terrifying. Roar. With a howl, the enormous creature flew towards the human exit. What kind of creature is that? Why is it flying towards the human exit? This creature has at least the strength of a 5th level profound void martial artist. Below, all the profound void martial artists stared in shock at their rapidly disappearing figure. Not far from the entrance of the main hall, the group of people that Frigid Sect had just walked out saw this scene. The bald old man's eyes were filled with fear. What is that 30 to 40 meter long creature? How terrifying. Is he a 4th or 5th level profound void martial artist? The long-haired skinny young man standing by the side was also filled with shock as he asked the withered old man beside him. 5th level of the void interpretation realm. That creature is a 5th level void interpretation realm expert. The withered old man's eyes were filled with fear. Good heavens, we can't stay in this main hall any longer. A nameless sword demon easily killed a 2nd level void interpretation realm expert, and now another terrifying creature has appeared. We'd better go back and come back after a period of time. At the side, more than 10 profound void martial experts gulped and walked out. Chapter 1321. 1321 Crown Prince. It's been a long time since a 5th level profound void martial artist appeared in the main hall. I wonder what that super powerful creature is? Do you think that creature looks like a dragon? It's too violent. It swallowed a 20-meter long snake with its mouth. A dragon? How is that possible? The dragon race has 2 wings. Do you think it's a super bloodline expert from other seas who came to our place? There is a very high possibility. When the bloodline is cultivated to the extreme, it can become a spirit and undergo the atavism. However, the possibility is very small. It should be a creature that lives on top of the main hall. We should come back in a few months. If this creature comes out again, it will be dangerous. Oh, right. I heard that the nameless sword demon killed more than 20 demonic beasts on the first floor. It is very powerful. Yeah, a single person killed more than 20 demonic beasts in an instant. He even killed a second-level profound void martial artist in an instant. Moreover, he even killed some of cold sex people. I feel that the nameless sword demon's strength is at least third-level profound void martial artist. He's truly a monster, a supreme genius. At the exit of the main hall, some profound void martial artists walked out. The battle between the 2 terrifying creatures in front of the main hall had shocked many people. This caused many people to escape from the main hall, afraid that they would encounter some danger. Haha, my level has increased. Finally. At the exit of the main hall, Wang Xian rode on his demon soul and flew towards the outer area of the human demon graveyard. Name: Wang Xian. Race: 5 elements divine dragon, able to transform into a human. Level: Insightful Emptiness Realm Level 1. Third transformation of the divine dragon transformation. Dragon Crystal 76 400/100 000000000. Supernatural ability: Ruling the Water Tribe. Ruling the Water Tribe that is lower than one's level. Devouring creatures to extract dragon crystals. Control of the 5 elements. Cultivation method: Divine Dragon Transformation. Supernatural ability: Soul Absorbing, Spirit Attaching, Light and Dark Fire Dragon Eyes, Light and Dark Void, Light and Dark Shadowless, Light and Dark. Aspect: 5 elements grinding. Dragon Palace, Level 3. Dragon Palace members, 3,396. Looking at his attributes and feeling the explosive power of his body, Wang Xian's eyes sparkled with a 5-colored radiance. After devouring the demonic might venomous snake demonic beast, he had achieved a transformation with just a little bit of dragon energy. He did not reach the half-step void interpretation stage and directly advanced to the first level of the void interpretation stage. At the same time, it was also the 3rd transformation of the divine dragon transformation. The breakthrough in his cultivation had allowed him to dominate the entire Luhai region with his current strength. With his current strength, he could easily kill a top-notch powerhouse at the 5th level of the void interpretation stage in his divine dragon state. Even if he could not defeat a powerhouse at the 6th level of the void interpretation stage, he could still escape. It has been more than a year since I came out. It's time for me to return, Wang Xian thought to himself. Speed up, he shouted softly. The demon soul beneath him immediately increased its speed and galloped rapidly. Sitting on the demon soul and overlooking the entire human demon graveyard, Wang Xian revealed a faint smile. When he came here, he was just an insignificant weakling. He didn't even dare to fly in the sky. But now, a dragon was roaming the world. I have been in the main hall for more than half a year. I wonder if Zhang Fengying is worried. Wang Xian thought to himself. Soon, the place where he was staying appeared in his sight. Wang Xian's figure moved. He jumped down from his demon soul and took off his mask before flying into the courtyard. You are finally back. Zhang Fengying heaved a sigh of relief when she saw Wang Xian flying straight into the courtyard. She looked at him with a smile on her face. I have been gone for a long time this time. I have made you worried. Rest for a day. I will bid farewell to Long Shout Eon, and we will return to the Dragon and Phoenix Empire. Wang Xian said to Zhang Fengying with a smile. Long Shout Eon. Zhang Fengying looked at him and took out an invitation card from her interspatial ring. If you're 2 days late, you might not be able to make it in time. This is Long Xiaotian's invitation card. 2 days later, the Light Dragon Empire will establish the Crown Prince. On that day, the Light Dragon Empire will hold a sacrificial ceremony in the tomb of the demi-human and confirm the future heir of the kingdom. Long Xiaotian said that the position of the Crown Prince this time will definitely be his. He wants you to come and watch the ceremony. Oh. Wang Xian took the invitation card that Zhang Fengying gave him and revealed a smile on his face. Have you started to confirm the position of the Crown Prince? All right, let's wait until he becomes the Crown Prince before we return. In more than half a year's time, after Wang Xian helped him to eliminate the subordinates of a few of his brothers, Long Xiaotian's position was unshakable. At that time, the position of Crown Prince had basically been decided. During this period of time, many experts came to seek refuge with him. There were even 3 insightful emptiness realm experts who came to seek refuge with him. Among the group of crown princes, they were absolutely invincible. It's up to you. I can go back anytime. Zhang Fengying smiled at him. All right, I'm going to rest. I haven't rested for half a year. This time, I'm going to sleep for more than 10 hours. Wang Xian waved his hand at Zhang Fengying and walked into the room. Zhang Fengying nodded at him. Wow, there are so many people today. Of course. Look at what day it is today. It's the day that the Radiant Dragon Dynasty establishes the Crown Prince. This is the future king of the Radiant Dragon Dynasty. How can there be fewer people? As long as the entire Radiant Dragon Dynasty has some powerful families, the rest of the major forces in the Luhai region will come to watch the ceremony. Every time the Light Dragon Dynasty selects a crown prince, it is extremely grand, especially this year. This time is special. This year, the one in charge of the ceremony is not the royal family of the Light Dragon Dynasty, but the second prince. It is obvious that they have already expressed their opinions. Although it is not the time for the real announcement, the position of the crown prince is 100% that of the second prince. Now, the second prince's forces are also very powerful. He has 5 insightful void martial artists under him, and one of them is at level 2 of the insightful void martial artist. With his strength, he can crush everyone else. 2 days later, in the morning, Wang Xian rested for more than 10 hours before heading to the island of the Radiant Dragon Dynasty with Zhang Fengying. When he arrived at the outer perimeter, he realized that there were tens of thousands of people in the surrounding sky. They came from the various influential families of the Radiant Dragon Dynasty. They were powerful mercenary groups. As long as they were qualified, they would all rush over. On the day of the Crown Prince, it meant that the future king would be confirmed. The family mercenary groups of the Light Dragon Dynasty would naturally come to pay their respects. They even had to send a congratulatory gift. Apart from the Light Dragon Dynasty, as one of the top forces in the Luhai region, the other countries, sects, and mercenary groups would also come to watch the ceremony. As one of the top figures in the Luhai region, they also had to come and get to know each other. Today, it was a very big event for the entire Luhai region. TSK, it really feels like thousands of people are coming to pay their respects. Wang Xian's gaze swept across the surroundings. There were see-through experts everywhere as he spoke with a smile on his face. Let's go. He moved his body and flew inside. The place where the heaven-worshipping ceremony was held was located above the island of the Guanglong dynasty. A huge place was built with a formation. A huge cauldron was erected in the middle. Tables and benches were set up in the surrounding void. It looked extremely majestic. In the middle, there was a huge entrance. Every participating force had to take out an invitation card to attend the ceremony. Wang Xian's figure moved and flew toward the entrance. The line that entered was very long. It was a few hundred meters in front of them. Other than the members of the royal family of the Guanglong dynasty who entered directly from the island, everyone else had to enter through the main entrance. Haha, cousin is really amazing. The position of crown prince. In the future, we can be considered as real royal relatives. Of course. 7 months ago, Cousin's position as the crown prince was basically confirmed. In the Guanglong dynasty, our Hua family's position will be greatly elevated in the future. While Wang Xian was slowly queuing up to enter, a few excited voices suddenly came from behind. Chapter 1322. 1,322 guests, one emperor and one courtier. Although the Transcendence continent respected martial arts, if Long Xiaotian could ascend to the throne as a relative of his mother's side, it would be equivalent to ascending to the heavens in a single step. As the king's cousin, he would naturally receive many benefits in the future. So it's the Hua family. Brothers, come forward. Please take care of me in the Light Dragon dynasty in the future. While the Hua family members were talking arrogantly, a complimentary voice came from the back. Hee, we're all friends. These are the members of the Lingnan family of Lingnan City, right? Yes, we're from the Lingnan family. We're here to congratulate the second prince on inheriting the position of crown prince. Dozens of middle-aged young men were floating in the air with smiles on their faces. Beside them, 5 or 6 young men, middle-aged men, and even old men were talking to the Hua family members warmly. The second prince had inherited the throne, and the clan that benefited the most from it was the second prince's mother's clan. As the tide rises, the boat rises. In the future, the Hua clan would definitely hold great power. Hey, the two in front, which clan are you from? At this moment, the voice of a young man came from behind. Wang Xian turned his head and looked at the young man from the Lingnan clan. He raised his eyebrows and asked, "What's the matter?" "Nothing much. Brother, if you are not in a hurry, please step back for a moment and let the Chinese people stand in front. Is that all right?" The young man from the Lingnan family said with a smile on his face. Wang Xian smiled faintly and did not mind it. "Sure. Hee, young man, you're not bad. Since you were able to attend this ceremony, it means that you have some status. When you come to Lingnan City in the future, I will bring you to have some fun." The young man looked like he was not bad. He patted Wang Xian on the shoulder and praised him. Wang Xian smiled nonchalantly. Although the queue was very long, it was very quick to enter. In just a few minutes, there were only a dozen people left. It was obvious that the people from the Lingnan family wanted to curry favor with the Chinese. The group of Chinese people glanced at Wang Xian and did not take it to heart. "Everyone, take out the invitation cards for the ceremony." The line was getting shorter and shorter. The voices of a few guards came from the front. 2 middle-aged men in armor who were riding on a transcendent level 9 black shadow panther were checking the invitation cards one by one. Around them, there were a row of warriors in black armor who were riding on ferocious beasts. They stood there proudly and looked at the group of people who had entered. Black armored cavalry. The second prince's black armored cavalry. There are more than 100 people in total. Each of them is at least at transcendent level rank 7. They are very powerful. The strength of this black armored cavalry is almost comparable to some top battle teams of the Radiant Dragon dynasty. This black armored cavalry looks arrogant. TSK, I'm really envious. They are the second prince's true confidants. The voices of the Hua clan and the Lingnan clan came from the front. Their faces were filled with envy. Some of the clans in the surrounding Guanglong dynasty were also looking at them with envy and respect. The Hua clan and the Lingnan clan handed over the invitation letters and nodded to the black armored cavalrymen with smiles on their faces. Invitation? Wang Xian and Zhang Fengying walked over, and the 2 black armored cavalrymen spoke as usual. However, when they saw Wang Xian, they were stunned before they could speak. "Young Master Wang." The 2 black armored cavalry soldiers immediately bowed respectfully to Wang Xian. Ha! This caused the Hua people and the people from the Lingnan family who had just walked in to turn their heads in astonishment. When they saw the black-armored cavalry soldiers bow respectfully to the young man who was standing in front of them, their eyes widened even more. This.
Who was he?
Young Master Wang. Our prince has been looking for you for a long time. He thought that you wouldn't be able to come today. Young Master Wang, let us bring you there. At this moment, two figures flew over from a short distance away. One of them was Bai Qingshan, who was dressed in a white robe, and the other was Elder Zhu. They came to Wang Xian's side with some respect as well, and said with a smile, I had some matters to attend to not long ago, but I just happened to be in time. Wang Xian smiled faintly and said to them, Young Master Wang, let's go. We will bring you in. Bai Qingshan and Elder Zhu extended their hands toward him respectfully. Wang Xian nodded his head and followed them into the room. Who is he? How could he allow Senior Bai and Senior Zhu to bring him in directly? Senior Bai and Senior Zhu are the second prince's true confidants. The two insightful emptiness realm experts who followed the second prince at the very beginning actually treated that young man so respectfully.
Who is he?
Could he be that brother of the second prince? You mean that young Master Wang who helped the second prince? The hearts of the Hua people and the members of the Lingnan clan turned cold. They were shocked as they watched the two insightful emptiness realm experts personally send the young man over. The surrounding clans of the Light Dragon dynasty also watched this scene in shock. Everyone knew that the second prince could easily take over the position of crown prince because of the help of a young man. Because of that young man, the second prince was able to do so smoothly. Moreover, according to rumors, that young man's connections were very powerful. He knew the daughter of the sect master of the Heavenly Sword sect as well as the major figures in the vast region. Young Master Wang, the prince has instructed that if you come, you will sit here. At the heavenly worship ceremony and the place where the prince was established, there were many viewing platforms. In the center was the place where the king, the important ministers, the royal elders, and the Princess Saturday. Below that was the position of the city lords of the Light Dragon dynasty. At this level, the first position was the position of the Hua people. The Hua people, the clansmen of Long Xiaotian's mother, had contributed a lot to Long Xiaotian's ascension to the throne. There were two seats at the front of the Hua people. One was the leader of the Hua people, and the other was a seat specially reserved for Wang Xian. When Wang Xian and the rest arrived, many Hua people had already arrived. Many seats around them were already filled with people. An old man holding a walking stick was already sitting at the front. Behind him were a group of old men and middle-aged men. Their faces were all flushed red. Clearly, they were very happy. Oh, this should be young Master Wang. Haha, please take a seat. The leader of the Hua people stood up with a warm expression and extended his hand to shake Wang Xian's hand. Hello, this old man should be Long Xiaotian's grandfather. Wang Xian extended his hand with a smile. Yes. Xiaotian is really lucky to have a brother like you. Come and have a seat. Long Xiaotian's grandfather invited him enthusiastically. He looked at the seat behind him and said, Come, Xiaoliang. Your seat is for young Master Wang's friend. Yes. An old man at the back smiled and nodded. He immediately stood up and invited Zhang Fengying. A guest, a real guest. Chapter 1323. 1323 Laughing Sky was the crown prince. Who would object? Who's that young man? How could he sit with the Hua clan leader? No one else could sit with the Hua clan leader besides the second prince's brother. I heard that the second prince became the crown prince today has a lot to do with his brother. What do you think? All the mounts of the second prince were obtained by that brother of his. Without him, the second prince would not have achieved his current achievements so easily. No wonder a young man could sit with the Hua clan leader. Don't you know that? The Hua clan is nothing when it comes to the relationship and background of this brother of the second prince. Even the second prince is weaker. The daughter of the sect master of the Heavenly Sword sect has a close relationship with that young master. Is he that powerful? You can just ask any faction in the tomb of the transvestite, and you will know. Wang Xian sat beside the Hua clan leader and chatted with him casually. The city lords and powerful clans of the Guanglong dynasty looked over with curiosity on their faces. The few Hua clan disciples behind them widened their eyes when they saw Wang Xian chatting with their clan leader. They wiped the cold sweat off their foreheads. Fortunately, they didn't act arrogantly in front of this young master earlier. Otherwise, it wouldn't be enough even if they were given 2 more lives. At noon, the sacrificial ceremony will begin, and the crown prince will be appointed. After that, the crown prince will make an oath. Currently, Xiao Yan isn't considered as the crown prince. Only after the oath is made can he be considered as the first successor to the throne. At the front, Long Xiaoyan's maternal grandfather was introducing the next steps to Wang Xian. Wang Xian nodded slightly at the side. The king, the royal elder council, and a bunch of ministers are here. Is it about to start? There are still 10 minutes left before the ceremony. Basically, everyone who came to watch the ceremony has arrived. Almost all the forces in the Luhai region are here. There must be at least tens of thousands of people around. At this moment, sounds of conversation could be heard from the surroundings. Wang Xian looked to the side. A middle-aged man wearing a yellow robe, a crown on his head, and a scepter of light with a dragon head in his hand walked towards the main stage. This was the king of the Light Dragon dynasty. Standing beside the king was a luxurious woman. The woman looked similar to Long Xiaotian. This was Long Xiaotian's mother. A mother depended on her son. After Long Xiaotian became the crown prince, his mother would become the queen. Grandpa, brother Wang Xian. At this moment, Long Xiaotian, who was dressed in a yellow python robe, rushed over from behind. He opened his arms and hugged Wang Xian excitedly. Wang Xian smiled and hugged him. Brother Wang Xian, where have you been for the past half a year? I can't even contact you. Long Xiaotian asked with a smile. I went out to gain some experience. Coincidentally, it happened to be today. After you become the crown prince today, I'm going back. Are you going back? I wonder how long it will take for you to meet me when you get back. Don't worry. I'll be back in a year or 2 at most. Wang Xian revealed a smile on his face and exchanged a few words with him. All right. When you're done with your matters today, you guys can have a good gathering tonight. Go and make some preparations. Long Xiaoyan's grandfather said with a smile on his face. Everyone's gaze was fixed on Wang Xian and the second prince. The second prince, their future king. As for the young man who had such a good relationship with the second prince, his future status was naturally very precious. Let the heavenly worship ceremony begin. At exactly 12 o'clock in the afternoon, a white-haired old man floated in the sky and shouted loudly. Every time the crown prince was appointed, a heavenly worship ceremony would be held. The process of heavenly worship was not complicated. The main purpose of heavenly worship was also to worship the ancestors. Under the leadership of the king, the royal family of the Light Dragon dynasty began to worship. Tens of thousands of people in the surroundings watched the ceremony. The ceremony is over. The crown prince has been chosen. The 9th generation disciple of the Long family, the 9th generation prince of the Light Dragon dynasty, has led his forces to the stage after 2 years of assessment. The Royal Elder Council will assess the development of the princes in the past 2 years. They will choose a prince and make him the crown prince. In the future, he will have the first right to inherit the throne. After the ceremony, the old man who was floating in the sky continued to speak. All princes come on stage. He shouted softly, and the princes who were preparing at the back led their subordinates to the center of the stage. A total of 15 princes participated in this assessment. At that time, the strongest people were the first prince, the second prince, and the 8th prince's group of 7. Ta. The princes led their subordinates. But when Long Xiaotian led his subordinates out, all eyes were on him. He was wearing a yellow robe and stood on the body of a dodo bird. The dodo bird at the first level of the profound void tier flapped its wings and emitted a bright energy. Around him, there were 4 experts at the first level of the profound void tier, and 1 at the second level of the profound void tier accompanying him. Behind the group of experts at the profound void tier, the black armored cavalry, riding on black shadow leopards and hell deer, emitted a powerful aura. They held their heads high and followed behind with proud faces. A stark contrast. Compared to the second Prince Long Xiaotian's faction, the other 14 princes were no match for him, even if they joined forces. Especially after the battle 7 months ago, the other princes no longer resisted and directly returned to the dynasty. Their strength was much weaker than the second prince's. There's no comparison at all. The second prince will undoubtedly inherit the crown prince. The entire Light Dragon dynasty knows that the second prince's position as the crown prince is 100%. However, there's still a need to go through the motions. Why is there a prince missing? Where's that prince? I heard that he went to a dangerous mystic realm in the Light Dragon dynasty. I think it's the 8th prince who was the first to be destroyed by the second prince's brother, Wang Xian. Long Xiaotian is too powerful. 5 insightful Void Realm experts and 1 insightful Void Mount. Good boy. In the surrounding area, regardless of whether it was the family forces in the Light Dragon dynasty or the other forces in the Flowing Sea region who came to watch the ceremony, they were all amazed when they saw the second prince's subordinates and power. There was no doubt about the position of Crown Prince. Humph. How unreconciled. The first prince, Long Xiaotian, the 16th prince, the 22nd prince, and the others looked at Long Xiaotian proudly standing on the dodo bird, and their expressions were extremely ugly. Long Xiaotian's gaze swept across the group of brothers, and a faint smile appeared on his face. He proudly jumped off the dodo bird and stood there with his head held high. After 2 years of investigation and tracking by our Light Dragon royal family's stable regiment, and according to the strength and influence of the princes, we have unanimously decided to appoint the second Prince Xiaotian as the crown prince. Are there any princes, ministers, and generals who object? The white-haired elder, Long Xiaotian's second grandfather, stood up slowly on behalf of the Peace Corps. His gaze swept across everyone around him as he asked indifferently, "Is there anyone who can object?" "Naturally. I object. I, Long Xiaotian, object." Chapter 1324. 1324. Help me ascend to the crown prince position. The princes stood there in an orderly fashion. Behind them were their respective powerful forces. They faced the direction of the Light Dragon dynasty's king and a group of ministers. A few old men from the jury sat in a row, and the white-haired old man stood up and asked everyone. In everyone's eyes, today's crown prince election was just a formality, a process that had to be gone through. Regardless of whether it was the Light Dragon dynasty or the outside forces, they all had a clear idea of the crown prince's position. That was Long Xiaotian. No crown prince was stronger than him, and no one was his match. The crown prince's position was well-deserved. Even the white-haired elder of the judging panel didn't object to that sentence. It was just a formality. When he said that, all the princes stood there with ugly expressions. Object? With what object? However, just when everyone thought that it was over, a voice suddenly sounded. I object. I, Long Xiaotian, object. This sentence, with a hint of anger and arrogance, directly resounded in the sky. Everyone around was stunned, be it the various major forces of the Light Dragon dynasty or the people who had come to watch the ceremony. Even the king of the Light Dragon dynasty on the stage had a surprised look on his face. Everyone looked towards the entrance. That's it. When everyone looked over, their eyes widened and shock appeared on their faces. Even the king of the Light Dragon dynasty had a surprised look in his eyes. Compared to Long Shaoran in the past, he looked much thinner and thinner, and his hair looked much longer. However, the confidence and dominance he exuded was dozens of times more than before. Behind him was a group of people, thousands of people. They were wearing aqua blue clothes. Some held scepters in their hands, and some held ice swords in their hands. On their chests, there was a big word Han. Why are they from the Frost sect? Why are they following the 8th prince? Didn't the 8th prince enter the Origin Light Dragon pool? He actually came out, and judging from the 8th prince's strength, he seems to have made a huge breakthrough. Oh my god, how did the Frost sect get mixed up with the 8th prince? Could it be? The faces of the various factions and families in the Light Dragon dynasty were filled with shock as they stared at the 8th prince who was walking towards them. Long Xiaotian frowned and looked at Long Xiaoyan. The Frost sect was a powerful sect in the Light Dragon dynasty. It was not under the control of the Light Dragon dynasty. The Frost sect was very powerful. At least the Light Dragon dynasty would not touch them easily. The sect master was at the 4th level of the Insightful Void tier. There were 4 or 5 at the 3rd level of the Insightful Void tier. As for the 1st and 2nd level of the Insightful Void tier, there were more than 30 of them. The Cold sect was located at Mount Han, which was at the border of the Light Dragon dynasty. The Light Dragon dynasty had always wanted to subdue it, but the Cold sect had never yielded. But on the surface, the Cold sect was very respectful to the Light Dragon dynasty, and they did many things to give the Light Dragon dynasty face. As time passed, the Light Dragon dynasty did not force the Cold sect to obey. Could the 8th prince of the Light Dragon dynasty have roped in the people of the Cold sect to fight for the position of Crown Prince? This is interesting. I thought that the 2nd prince would definitely inherit the position of Crown Prince. Who would have thought that an 8th prince would suddenly appear out of nowhere? Some of the forces in the Luhai region who came to observe the ceremony were curious when they saw the 8th prince strolling onto the stage. Xiaoyan, you said that you object? The white-haired elder from the judging panel stared at the 8th prince who had suddenly appeared out of nowhere and asked in surprise. That's right, I object. Long Xiaoyan walked to the front of Wang Xian with a face full of confidence. The position of Crown Prince. In terms of individual strength and the forces under him, he, Long Xiaotian, is inferior to me in terms of 2 years of battle results. As Long Xiaoyan spoke, his gaze was fixed on Long Xiaotian as he roared loudly, with a cold face. 8th brother, just because the Frost sect supports you doesn't mean that they are your forces. The true forces are able to obey you and obey your orders. I don't know what agreement you have reached with the Frost sect, but you are obviously not in line with the rules. Long Xiaotian frowned slightly and glanced at the 1,000-odd people of Frost sect with an embarrassed expression. The 1,000-odd people of Frost sect and almost all the experts had been mobilized. The sect master of Frost sect, a group of insightful emptiness realm experts, had at least 30 people. Faced with so many experts, Long Xiaotian's expression also didn't look good. He didn't expect that the 8th prince who had entered the Origin Light Dragon Pond would actually directly charge out and even bring the people of Frost sect with him. However, the support of a powerful force didn't represent one's own force. Ha ha ha. Long Xiaoyan suddenly laughed wildly when he heard his words. His eyes were full of excitement. Disciples of the Frost sect, listen up. Yes, my lord. He directly raised his arm and shouted. Behind him, under everyone's shocked eyes, including the sect master of the Frost sect, he directly half-knelt on the ground and shouted loudly. What? Long Xiaotian widened his eyes and stared at this scene in disbelief. The few princes beside him also widened their eyes, their faces filled with shock. The Frost sect, this was the Frost sect, a powerful sect that even the Light Dragon dynasty could not subdue. Now, even the sect master of the Frost sect, a 4th-level profound void martial expert, was kneeling in front of the 8th prince. He was kneeling right there, and an expert was kneeling. This represented submission. Otherwise, with his pride and status as an expert, he would never kneel before a weakling. What? Everyone in the Frost sect actually respects the 8th prince. Oh my god, how could the 8th prince subdue the Frost sect? This is simply unbelievable. If the 8th prince really subjugates the Frost sect, then the position of crown prince will belong to the 8th prince. Everyone around, be it the various major powers that had come to watch the ceremony, the royal family of the Light Dragon dynasty, or the various ministers and generals, exclaimed in shock. This, Shaoyan actually subjugated Frigid sect. Haha, this is simply too good, too good. Long Xiaoyan's mother's family, trembled with excitement when they saw this scene. They never expected that their son, who was supposed to die in the Origin Light Dragon Pool, would actually return as a king. He led a powerful force and came directly. Some were happy, while others were worried. How is this possible? How is this possible? Why would the people of the Frost sect listen to the orders of a little guy? This. Long Xiaoyan's grandfather, who was sitting beside Wang Xian, looked at this scene with an extremely embarrassed expression. His face was filled with disbelief. Everyone from the Hua clan also looked extremely embarrassed. Wang Xian also raised his eyebrows slightly. His eyes were flickering as he stared ahead. People from the Frost sect. Wang Xian was even prepared to destroy the Frost sect before he left. My subordinates from the Frost sect helped me ascend to the position of crown prince. At this moment, Long Xiaoyun's gaze swept across the surroundings. An arrogant expression appeared on his face as he shouted loudly. Yes. A shout filled with majesty directly resounded through the sky. Chapter 1325. 1325. I will kill you today. My cold sex subordinates, help me ascend to the position of crown prince. A roar and a response shook the entire sky above the ceremony. Tens of thousands of people stared dumbfoundedly as more than 1,000 cold sex experts stood behind Long Xiaoyan, sweeping their imposing auras over everyone. On the stage, all the prince's hearts trembled, including Long Xiaoyan's. He looked at the experts of the Frost sect, tightly clenching his fists. This was simply not on the same level. The Frost sect had existed for thousands of years, possessing a historical foundation that was not inferior to the Light Dragon dynasty. Who could resist such a powerful sect submitting to the 8th prince? Long Xiaoyan was very strong, and his subordinates were also very powerful. However, compared to the Frost sect, there was a huge difference. In fact, the two parties were not even on the same level. The other party was more than 30 insightful emptiness realm experts. On the stage, a group of important ministers and generals of the Light Dragon dynasty, as well as a few elders of the jury, were also shocked when they saw this scene. If Long Xiaoyan inherited the position of crown prince, Hanzong would be the power of the Light Dragon dynasty. This was a huge benefit to the Light Dragon dynasty. The position of crown prince tests one's strength, influence, and results. Long Xiaoyan, just now, you are the heir of the crown prince. Now, I want to challenge you. Come, let's compare our strength, influence, and results. Do you dare? Long Xiaoyan stared at Long Xiaoyan, the corners of his mouth curling up slightly. He stared at Long Xiaoyan with an ice-cold gaze. He raised his head slightly and looked at Long Xiaoyan as if he was looking down on him. Long Xiaoyan looked at Long Xiaoyan, looking down at him so arrogantly. He clenched his fists tightly, and his expression was extremely ugly. On the stage, the eyes of the king of the Light Dragon dynasty flashed when he saw this scene. He did not say anything. Below, regardless of whether it was Long Xiaoyan or Long Xiaoyan, they were both his sons. Regardless of which son was outstanding, he was very happy. The position of crown prince was held by those who had the strength. The 8th prince had a great opportunity, so this position was the 8th prince's. Come, let's have a competition of strength first. I can let you bring your level 1 profound void tier pet. Long Xiaoran raised his head and pointed at Long Xiaotian as he said proudly, "Eighth brother, you are too arrogant." Long Xiaotian's expression was ugly as he stared at Long Xiaoyan with sparkling eyes. Haha, arrogant. Of course you can be arrogant, if you have the strength. Second brother, you were also very arrogant back then. I support eighth brother. As for the position of prince, those who have the strength will occupy it. Then, let's compete in strength, influence, and results. I also support eighth brother. Back then, how arrogant were you and that Wang Xian brat? He actually attacked us directly. Humph. That's right. Back then, you killed eighth brother and all of our subordinates. Today, it's your turn. Before Long Xiaoyan could reply, the first prince, the 16th prince, and the 22nd prince, who were standing at the side, approached him with sparkling eyes. They stared at Long Xiaotian and said coldly, 7 months ago, Wang Xian had slapped them in the face in public. However, Long Xiaoqin and the rest had always held a grudge against him. However, Wang Xian was powerful. Furthermore, the second prince wanted to inherit the position of the crown prince. There was no hope for him to take revenge. However, they never expected that the eighth prince would lead a terrifying force to descend directly and crush Long Xiaotian. This made them extremely happy. Furthermore, this was the best time to build a good relationship with the eighth prince. From the perspective of his terrifying force, the future throne would belong to the eighth prince. All right. Let's fight then. I want to see what kind of opportunity you have obtained by entering the Origin Light Dragon Pool. Humph. Do you really think that I, Long Xiaotian, am afraid of you? With a gloomy face, he jumped onto the dodo bird and stared coldly at Long Xiaoyan. Haha, fine. Long Xiaoyan waved his hand, and the experts of the Frost sect behind him immediately retreated dozens of meters. Long Xiaoqin and the other princes also hurriedly retreated to their surroundings. Second brother, eighth brother, stop right there. On the stage, the king of the Light Dragon Dynasty said in a deep voice with an expressionless face, "It's father. I definitely won't hurt second brother." Long Xiaoyan respectfully cupped his hands and said with a face full of confidence, "This eighth prince is so confident. You should know that Long Xiaotian has a level 1, insightful Void Realm mount, the dodo bird. Yeah, could it be that his strength is even stronger than the dodo bird? What kind of powerful opportunity did this eighth prince obtain in the Origin Light Dragon Pond?" Everyone looked at the eighth prince and the second prince on the stage in shock. After the eighth prince's subordinates were all killed by Wang Xian, they entered the Origin of Light Dragon Pool in anger. There was a slim chance of survival in the Origin of Light Dragon Pool. However, the ancestors of the Light Dragon Empire did rise up because of the Origin of Light Dragon Pool. Everyone focused their attention on the area below. They wanted to see how much the eighth prince's strength had increased. What kind of opportunity had he obtained? Second brother, I'll call you second brother in the end. Kiki, I'm going to make my move. Long Xiaoran raised his head slightly and looked at Long Xiaotian as he spoke arrogantly and contemptuously. Even though Long Xiaotian was riding on the insightful Void Mount, he still did not put it in his eyes. Long Xiaoyan, don't be arrogant. Long Xiaotian looked at his contemptuous expression, and a trace of anger appeared on his face. His body moved, and the dodo bird he was riding directly emitted a dazzling white light. Numerous sharp white wings attacked him directly. Kiki, you're too weak. Don't think that you can become a prince just because of that Wang Xian. In my opinion, all of you are useless. Long Xiaoyan's eyes were extremely cold when he saw the wings of light attacking him.
Die.
He stood there and didn't move at all. He waved his arm. A light claw, a pale light claw, directly attacked the dodo bird under Long Xiaotian. The wings of the dodo bird immediately collapsed when they collided with the claw. The pale light claw instantly entered the body of the dodo bird. Chirp, chirp, chirp. A shrill cry instantly resounded through the entire sky. The dodo bird, which was flying in the air, instantly died. What? How is this possible? Long Xiaoyan, who was standing on the dodo bird, did not even have time to react. He stared blankly at the dodo bird that had lost its vitality in an instant. No, this is a level 1 insightful void realm dodo bird, this. He widened his eyes, and his body fell downwards. In the midst of losing his soul, his body staggered slightly. Oh my god, how is this possible? A level 1 insightful void realm dodo bird was killed in an instant. 8th Prince, what kind of strength is this? He killed the insightful void beast in an instant. The 8th Prince's strength is at least at the 2nd rank of the insightful void realm, or even higher. How is this possible? How is this possible? What kind of opportunity did the 8th Prince obtain to possess such powerful strength? This strength is simply heaven-defying in the younger generation. When everyone in the surroundings saw the battle that ended in an instant, their eyes widened in disbelief. Instant kill. Instant end. On the stage, some of the important ministers and generals of the Guanglong dynasty even stood up in shock. You're just a piece of trash, even if you have a pet of the 1st level of the see-through void tier. Long Xiaoyan looked down at the dazed Long Xiaotian in front of him coldly. His gaze suddenly turned towards the position on the stage. His gaze was filled with killing intent as he stared at Wang Xian. Next, it's a competition of forces. Without the help of the people from the Frost sect, I alone can destroy all of your forces. You, Wang Xian, get down from there. Long Xiaotian is able to reach the stage because of you. The reason why I am able to reach the stage is all because of you. Haha, didn't you say that you wanted to help him become the crown prince? Today, I will kill you. Chapter 1326. 1326. The true identity of the nameless sword demon. Today, I'm going to kill you. A domineering voice reverberated in the sky above the entire Guanglong Island. The 8th Prince, Long Xiaoyan, stood in the middle and stared at Wang Xian coldly. Beside him, the 1st Prince, Long Xiaochen, bowed his head while Long Xiaotian stood there with an ugly expression. Upon hearing the 8th Prince's domineering words, Long Xiaotian raised his head and stared at him. Long Xiaoyan, don't you dare. Haha. Upon hearing his voice, Long Xiaoyan looked at Long Xiaotian with disdain. A defeated opponent has no right to threaten me. I, Long Xiaoyan, will definitely avenge the humiliation from that day. I will give you 3 seconds to get down from here. Otherwise, he looked at Wang Xian again and said coldly. Hiss. When everyone around felt the invincible stance of the 8th Prince, they took a deep breath. A few months ago, all the subordinates of the 8th Prince were killed by the 2nd Prince's brother, Wang Xian. Today, the 8th Prince who entered the Origin Light Dragon Pool is going to take revenge. At that time, the 8th Prince was extremely humiliated. Now that he has the strength, he naturally has to take revenge. That Wang Xian is not weak either. He is at least at the 1st level of the see-through realm and has 2 ferocious beasts at the 1st level of the see-through realm. 1st level of the see-through realm? Ferocious beasts? With the 8th Prince's strength, he should be able to kill them in an instant. Just now, the 2nd Prince's mount was killed in an instant. The 8th Prince did not show his true strength at all. This Wang Xian is doomed. Not only is the 8th Prince extremely powerful, but the Frost sect is also extremely terrifying. Don't forget about the connections of that Wang Xian. The 8th Prince might not dare to kill him. When everyone around saw this scene, their faces were filled with astonishment. Their eyes were flickering as they watched the scene. Wang Xian looked at the 8th Prince who was provoking him. He had a look that said that he was determined to kill him. A cold expression appeared in his eyes. He stood up slowly and swept his gaze across the 8th Prince and everyone from the cold sect. Little brother Wang Xian. Long Xiaoyan's grandfather looked worried when he saw Wang Xian standing up. The few elders from the judging panel frowned slightly when they saw this scene. They were naturally very clear about Wang Xian's connections. The daughter of the sect leader of the Heavenly Sword sect had confessed to him. The young master of the top family in the vast region had a close relationship with him. If the 8th prince really killed Wang Xian, it would cause some unnecessary trouble, or even a crisis. It's a simple sparring session. Don't overdo it. The white-haired elder pondered for a moment and said to the 8th prince below. Don't overdo it. Long Xiaoyan raised his eyebrows. Soon after, a ferocious smile appeared on his face. The winner becomes the king and the loser becomes the bandit. Today, no one can stop my determination to kill him. No matter what background and strength he has, he will die.
Boom.
Long Xiaoyan raised his head. His eyes were filled with endless coldness and aggressiveness, and a terrifying aura was directly emitted from his body. Dazzling white light and terrifying aura soared into the sky from the center. The noon sun instantly dimmed. The entire domain seemed to be centered around Long Xiaoyan. At this moment, he was like the chosen one, covering an area of 3 kilometers. What? When the white-haired old man heard the 8th prince's words, his eyes were filled with displeasure. However, when he saw the aura that Long Xiaoyan erupted from below, he was completely stunned. This aura. He widened his eyes and looked at Long Xiaoyan, who was like the chosen one, with a face full of shock. This is such a terrifying aura. Oh my god, this is 3rd level of the Void Interpretation stage. It's definitely 3rd level of the Void Interpretation stage. How is this possible? How can the 8th prince have such terrifying strength? Unbelievable. It's really unbelievable. How old is the 8th prince this year? He actually reached 3rd level of the Void Interpretation stage.
E.
The bodies of everyone around trembled. Tens of thousands of people could not help but stand up and stare at Long Xiaoyan in disbelief. 3rd level of the Profound Void tier. This was the 3rd level of the Profound Void tier. To reach the 3rd level of the Profound Void tier at the age of the 8th prince, this was a heaven-defying move. What kind of opportunity did Xiaoyan obtain? The king of the Light Dragon dynasty's pupils also slightly contracted, his eyes filled with shock and excitement. 3rd level of the Profound Void tier. 8th brother has actually reached the 3rd level of the Profound Void tier. Among the group of princes, the strongest Long Xiaoyan's eyes were filled with shock. His body could not help but tremble. Under his imposing manner, the other princes had the urge to kneel down. Long Xiaotian looked at the figure in front of him. His face was filled with despair. It's over. It's completely over. In the future, I, Long Xiaoyan, will ascend to the peak of the Luhai region. In the future, I will kill anyone who stands in my way. If God stands in my way, I will kill God. Long Xiaoyan waved his arm. A long sword that was emitting a dazzling, white glow appeared in his hand. 3 seconds are up.
Die.
Long Xiaoyan stared at Wang Xian, who was standing there with contempt. The long sword in his hand attacked Wang Xian directly. Contempt, disregard, everything was revealed. A dazzling light shot toward Wang Xian. Wang Xian revealed an indifferent expression. Be careful. Long Xiaoyan's grandfather wanted to help Wang Xian to defend.
Clang.
However, at this moment, a black sword appeared in Wang Xian's hand. He gently pulled out the demon-free sword. The hilt of the sword blocked Long Xiaoyan's grandfather, who wanted to help him. He smiled at the old man. The power on the demon-free sword shook slightly.
Bang.
An invisible force collided with the bright light. The bright light disappeared immediately. Oh. Haha. As expected of someone who can help Long Xiaotian ascend to the position of crown prince. He has some strength. Long Xiaoyan laughed out loud when he saw Wang Xian blocking his attack. I've said it before. I'll help brother Long Xiaotian ascend to the position of crown prince. I, Wang Xian will definitely fulfill my words. Wang Xian stared at Long Xiaoyan with an indifferent smile on his face. His body moved slightly, and he flew directly towards the arena. Everyone around them watched this scene in silence. The judges and the king of the Light Dragon Empire did not say anything. The strength and influence that Long Xiaoyan displayed was simply too terrifying. Even the entire empire had to consider his feelings. No one said anything. With just you cannot even protect yourself and still dare to be arrogant. Long Xiaoyan's expression turned cold when he heard his words. I will definitely kill you within 3 moves. As he spoke, he slowly raised the long sword of light in his hand and stared at Wang Xian with contempt. With the 8th prince's strength, he might be able to kill him in less than 3 moves. If Wang Xian doesn't have any heaven-defying treasures on him, he would be able to kill him in 1 move. Everyone looked down and thought to themselves. The 8th prince's strength was too terrifying.
Die!
Long Xiaoyan shouted loudly and slashed out with a sword of light in his hand. 3 moves, that's a little too much. Wang Xian stared at Long Xiaoyan without the slightest fluctuation in his eyes. He waved his arm, and a black beam that everyone was familiar with came forward to receive it. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.